stuck between wanting to do podcasts and not wanting to do podcasts at all.
That's great. What was that?
That's my favorite line in the movie.
Okay.
Which is when she's at the party with the neighborhood families.
Yes.
And the woman asks her, what do you do?
Yeah, I'm a writer or whatever.
No,
Right.
no, that's not what she says.
She doesn't say that.
In fact, what she says is the thing I just quoted. She said, I'm stuck between wanting to do something and not wanting to do anything at all.
Yeah, you're right. That's a good line.
It's
been there.
It's
relatable, incredibly relatable.
It's a real, you have captured something in words, perfectly performed by one of our most powerful movie stars that I have never been able to quite get my hands around.
Jennifer Lawrence. Is she one of our most... She is, I guess.
I'm choosing the word powerful.
You can use a
just
different
in
word.
terms of the power of what she does, like her work.
You remember how when Angelina Jolie was sort of the number one most famous actress of her age, right?
Mhm.
Like was the I guess, consensus A-list movie star who was a woman.
Of her generation, no question.
Right. And like, and you would, every so often people would be like, she's never been in a good movie or really like made a proper hit. And I would always push back on that. I would be like, no, you can look at her career and she took like Assault or even a fucking Maleficent. And like, you can tell that she plussed it, box office wise, right? You know what I mean?
Bullshit.
It's bullshit.
The good movie is an ongoing conversation.
This is what I'm saying. So does J.Law have her beat?
No
As
question.
J.Law is sort of maybe the Jolie-esque, okay. Alison, please talk.
I would say yes, but also I think she has yet to really do the thing that Jolie did, which is to come into a movie and just like blow everyone else out of office. Like Girl Interrupted. I feel like in that movie, she just comes in and you're just like, who is that? Like
Right. I would argue that Winter's Bone was a version of that.
I mean, she's great in that.
Yes.
But also it is like a role that is almost like built around, I don't know, like a showcase for her in a way that is, I think, and it is an incredible one.
I was going to say Silver Linings Playbook does have that Girl Interrupted energy in it. The difference is that the rest of the movie is closer to her level than maybe Girl Interrupted. That is not a movie I think is perfect, but certainly at the time as it was received, it was like, that's a movie that got 4 acting nominations.
Have we never really discussed Jennifer Lawrence on the show?
So.
I guess we haven't.
A lot to talk about
because
today.
like we've never wanted to do David O. Russell.
No.
Who is her primary auteur. We've never wanted to cover the X-Men series on our Patreon. I wonder why.
Yeah, let me just check the Epstein files quickly and see why we don't want to cover the X-Men movies.
And like, those are
two of those directors are still clean. One, I don't know.
I guess we could do Mother one day.
Yeah, although
it's a rich text.
I would argue.
Is Darren kind of arguing his way out of being covered?
I was going to say, I think our chances of doing Mother one day have been greatly diminished by everything post-Mother.
Yeah, I like Mother, though. Still fond of Mother. It is a rich text.
It is a movie I am eager to sort of revisit. I do feel like...
Enjoy Mother.
I like this better as a showcase for that angle of J.Law. I wonder if I rewatch Mother now, will I think it's a masterpiece. I was angry when I saw it.
I was a little dismissive when I saw it, and then I rewatched and was like, I think I respect the swing here.
Yeah.
I kind of like this.
I think there's some of his movies, I mean, that where you just like, oh, he's onto something, even if it's not entirely cohering. And also Mother does feel a lot to me like a maybe mostly inadvertent confession about why you should not date Darren Aronofsky, which is like, I think...
We projected all that onto it, but it's there.
It's there.
It was happening.
There. Yes. And I think that is incredible.
Yeah. I'll say this. This is not a Mother podcast, but the context in which I saw Mother was a screening at the Metrograph.
We definitely talked about it because he was there, right?
Yes, he was there and she was there. And I think it was the first time the movie was being screened anywhere outside of, they had done the big New York Magazine profile. Do you remember who wrote that? Whoever it was just kept talking about how they weren't allowed to talk about the movie. That the movie was shrouded in so much secrecy.
They wouldn't even tell you what it was about.
No, and they were like, it has interesting metaphors in it. And you were like, what the fuck is this? And the whole profile was Darren Aronofsky being like, people are going to be pissed at me and that's fine. And you were like, the fuck is this? And he got up before the movie with a scarf, quite the scarf on, had a real air about him, introduced her as the greatest movie star in the world. There was an energy between the two of them that was a little like, is is this the bourgeois dancing on a collapsing Paris kind of thing? And then he said, like, this is a movie about the most important mother in the world, Mother Earth, and how we've disrespected her. And I was like, you just told me the metaphor right before the movie started. And immediately I'm like, okay, yeah, I get it. I was so kind of set up to be pissed off from the moment it started. And
he's annoying.
I respect it more in mind's eye. But yes, no, I mean, who else would we cover that she has worked with? Like, Granick's unlikely. Francis Lawrence is unlikely.
We could do Francis.
Francis Lawrence.
We like Francis Lawrence.
Great career.
But like, are we going to do him?
Sure.
Versus
right now.
like just doing...
Stop this podcast.
Okay, Ben, I'm sorry. Stop
What
the
was his
podcast.
first movie?
This was Blank Check with Griffin and David. I'm Griffin.
I would love to talk Constantine, by the way.
Great movie.
Whenever
Great movie.
you want. I'm ready.
When I interviewed him once, and I was like truly like sucking his dick about Constantine. And I guess I Am Legend. And just kind of being like, man, you...
And he was like, I appreciate it, but also cradle the balls.
You know, I was just like, you actually make, you know, like really fun Hollywood stuff. And like, I've just been a long time fan of yours. And he was like, thank you. Like, he was very nice about it, but he was not
he was not like, thank God, finally
away.
someone's seeing me
exactly.
for what I really am. Wait, can I just go back and say one thing?
Please, anything.
When I did Requiem for a Dream oral history.
You did? That's right.
Yes.
You talked to everyone.
I did talk to everyone.
The fridge?
Including the fridge. The fridge was very rude, by the way. I don't know the fridge. There's a reason the fridge was canceled.
Also directed an X-Men movie.
Darren Aronofsky, before we started, was like, jokingly, but also it was like, can you tell the Vulture editors to stop calling me scarf-wearing guy? So,
but they really like to make fun of his scarf.
It was. And the thing is, like, do you see him in scarves now? No.
No. It clearly, it's his version of the Eddie Murphy laugh, where he's like, fine, are you happy? I stopped. And now his neck is so fucking cold.
It's so cold all the time. What's going to happen to him?
I love that was his explanation at the time, where he's like, I have a very sensitive throat.
Is that what he sounds like?
Yeah, he did. He was like, I'm very susceptible.
That's not a bad impression.
I don't know what he sounds like. I don't.
It's not.
It's like, I have a sensitive throat.
I guess, so did anyone watch his AI American Revolution series
I only to jerk off to it. No, I didn't watch it.
Alison, I didn't watch it. I absorbed it.
I set my ass down and listened. So he used AI to make a Revolutionary War series,
like web series.
That's like reenactments, but
it's just like, imagine if we could see,
right? You are there.
Paul Revere.
He's trying to kind of be like, this is what AI is for. It's so that
bringing history to life,
do large scale production quickly.
And he's
watching the trailer.
Oh, good.
It looks like spookily dead-eyed in a Polar Express.
It looks like AI.
It looks like a Polar Express kind of.
I watch. I look at TikTok all the time, right? And TikTok will serve you AI in the middle of like a person being like, "Look, my baby fell sideways," like, which is obviously what I'm here for.
Yeah.
Thank you, China.
We're still in the place, and maybe this will change one day, but where you're just like, I know it's AI immediately. There's just a quality. You know it when you see it.
That's how I feel. And every time I see some fucker post something and go like, Hollywood is cooked. This is what AI can do now. I'm like, bullshit. It's not good enough. And then I'm also like, but what? Like 6 months from now, maybe it is. And then I'm like, great. So reality doesn't exist anymore.
No, my thing has always been like the way I feel about video games, where I'm like, it got better and better and better, but it never got where we all, when we were younger, thought it was going to get.
I mean, it's the uncanny valley thing.
Yeah.
I think it is true.
And maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'll be a fool.
That's my worry.
A year from now.
My worry is that you will be a fool. Have you seen, there's one that keeps going around that's like, it took like thousands of people and hundreds of millions of dollars to make like Friends. And this is what like Sora can whip up right now. And it's a super cut of like fake AI Friends scenes.
I've seen this. Yeah.
And you're like, oh, it is weird how real it looks, but also they are speaking gibberish.
Right.
No.
And it's like Chandler walks through the door and he's like, well, I got pizza.
Yeah.
And then everyone laughs.
It's very weird because
the lines don't make sense.
Right. They are speaking English, but
right.
not legible English. And they keep walking in and out of doors that aren't connected to anything. And the doors keep moving around. So it's great. It's like a melatonin nightmare.
It's
or whatever. You're like, this sort of is real.
Because you're like, whatever AI app is started to be like, okay, so like 30% of Friends is people dramatically walking through doors into apartments. It must be about that. This must happen 4 times per scene. And they have everyone's like tone and the rhythm of everyone's joke delivery right, but they don't understand how to build jokes through dialogue. And then like none of them look exactly like them. All of them look like they're stand-ins, but they look like real people. And then the Phoebe will sit down and split into two people the second she hits the couch. Will literally like asexually reproduce into two people on a cushion.
I remember that episode.
Yeah, it's a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The video I got served, which is stuck in my brain, is like some guy who made an AI video as if he were visiting the set of a Dragon Ball Z movie.
I saw this.
Yes.
And he's like hugging Goku.
Yeah. So he's basically, it's like as if he had just gone on and everyone were forced to take a selfie with him. And it's all of these incredibly famous people that he has like fan cast as different characters.
And people are like, Hollywood is cooked. And I'm like, I don't know. You just seem sad.
Yeah, I know. And I'm like, the problem with this is also like, it's like the limits of your imagination are like.
I wish they were my friends.
Yes.
What if Goku thought I was cool?
Exactly.
What's our podcast?
I tried to introduce and you didn't take the bait.
Oh,
For
I'm
once,
sorry.
I just want to let the record
I'm so sorry.
show.
I missed it. What did you say?
You said, let's stop right now and talk about Francis Lawrence. And I said, fine, this podcast was Blank Check with Griffin and David.
Oh, I didn't. Okay. Yeah.
Pretty funny.
That is funny.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I'm Griffin.
I'm David.
It's a podcast about filmographies, directors who have massive success early on in their careers, kind of, and are given a series of blank checks, sort of, to make whatever crazy passion projects they want. And sometimes those checks clear, and sometimes they get bought for $20 million at Cannes and become kind of like, I don't know, a cautionary tale?
A little bit. I think a little bit of a cautionary tale business-wise, yeah.
Allison and I were talking about this the other day, and you have not been introduced yet, Allison.
Well, could you introduce her?
Hold on 1 second. This is more important. Allison and I were talking the other day about how it feels like in the flop fall kind of trend piecing of a bunch of A-list movie stars had sort of prestige-y dramas that were given wide releases that were supposed to hopefully cross over to some degree in the mainstream and also to Oscar results completely flatline. And it feels like this was always included in that grouping of, here's a list of 5 movies in the last 8 weeks.
With the others being?
Christie, Smashing Machine, Roofman to a lesser degree.
Yeah, sure.
I feel like there's one more I'm...
the
the Springsteen movie, you could argue.
Kind of argue.
Yeah. Those are 5 pure theatrical releases that all had...
What did all of those movies in? I'll tell you. Not Die My Love, but like it's reviews.
Yes.
Really. It's like none of those really count on with anyone.
This is what's interesting to me, is I feel like this is the one of those films that was well received.
It was well received. Maybe not raves, but it was well received.
People liked it,
but all the other ones, like even Christie, the strongest reviews were the like, it's weird that she's this good in this movie that is unpleasant to watch, and why did she make this?
It's very long.
Like, the positive reviews all kind of had like flashing red lights that weren't really going to draw an audience in. I feel like this movie wasn't turned into a punchline as much, despite it having like 2 A-listers and not converting into serious nominations anywhere. But it's sort of with distance just part of the narrative of like, what was like the weird movie 2025?
Sure. I mean, it was ludicrous to put this on. I don't think anyone could really be like, how dare Jennifer Lawrence not make this into a hit?
No.
Like in a serious way.
It is a very jagged, intentionally abrasive movie.
Yeah.
And
it was to me, it was a little bit more like, oh, Mubi, like just because the substance broke through doesn't mean you can do this with anything. Like, you silly gooses.
But you think, they also clearly were like, for this amount of money, in the very least, we're going to have bought a Best Actress nomination.
I think that's what they thought. And the other part of what's interesting about this movie to me is I just feel like a lot of people I talk to just don't know this happened. And yet, Jennifer Lawrence was like as out there as she has been in many, many years.
She did get out there.
And kept doing it. Like in the lead up to theatrical release, throughout the whole award season, she's not making precursor lists and she's still doing stuff. And all the stuff she was doing was hitting like classic Jennifer Lawrence. where people were kind of like, thank God she's back. You know what? I missed this. And yet none of that energy went back over to the movie.
Because it doesn't. It just doesn't. It doesn't go to the movies.
No, that's, I think, the biggest lesson learned from 2025.
Yeah, like you playing Operation with Robert Pattinson will not mean anyone sees the movie. They simply watched a fun clip.
Right. It will.
Gave eyeballs to Variety or whoever.
It will monetize that clip.
Yes.
And it might sell copies of Operation. But it, like, actually doesn't get your movie anywhere.
Well, I think especially when you're like,
and why should it?
At best, right? At best, you're mentioning this movie to a bunch of people who maybe will remember to look it up and then go, oh, that doesn't look like something I want to watch.
Right, and that's like, you watch Jennifer Lawrence kill it on Hot Ones for like 25 minutes, and when she says like, through tears, my new movie is called Die My Love, it's in theaters, whatever.
Right.
That basically, I think for most listeners is the equivalent of thank you for watching, please remember to rate, review, and subscribe.
Yes.
You know, it's just like white noise, you tune that part out. And I think the industry started thinking, well, this is the way to market, this is the way to break through to this audience. And what they don't understand is that those aren't marketing tools. Those are their competition.
Who's our guest?
Our guest today from Vulture. From the new podcast, Critical Darlings, a Blank Check production. The great Alison Willmore.
Hello.
Ooh, Remain just got pushed to February 2027.
Wow. Okay.
I'll take it off the spreadsheet.
Allison, the seismic waves on our spreadsheet, the scheduling changes that just happened are insane.
Wow.
It's gone.
Here's a Jennifer Lawrence thing an observation I would like to make. She famously took a few years off, right? And kind of was like, I need to reset. I need to, people are going to get sick of me. And also like, clearly she was like, I need to figure out what my grown-up career as a movie star looks like, right? And this is what, like her third essentially soft relaunch, right? At this point.
Causeway is like an unbelievably soft relaunch.
But Causeway was like, she was also like, I'm a producer now, right?
Yep.
She's like, I am not just going to be in, playing characters that are 10 to 20 years too old for me in David O. Russell movies. By God, like I am going to take control of my career and pick interesting roles.
And she has her producing, is it Justine Chiarachi?
Yeah,
is that her
second oldest friend.
Yeah.
They met in the movie biz, right?
Yes.
I forget if she...
Maybe not her oldest friend, but like her closest
She was like a crew. She was like her assistant on Hunger
Yeah,
Games.
exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And they basically come up together. They seem to have great taste.
Yes.
The things they produced are Causeway, No Hard Feelings, and Die My Love.
And I was going to say...
3 movies I like.
Right. Causeway, unbelievably...
And 2 docs that
right.
I don't know much about.
Small movie, lost in the sort of post-pandemic morass, does get a Best Supporting Actor nomination, but more than anything felt like, I think what you're saying, a proclamation of, here's phase 2. I'm developing material. I'm finding people I want to work with.
And doesn't get noticed much, but that's fine. Then she does.
But it got an Oscar nom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It did.
I know, but it was
an
like,
Oscar nom.
but
I
it
know.
was in that weird, like also like pandemic-y era.
I know. But like, there's so many Apple projects, most of them starring Mahershala Ali. Yeah. I feel like he was in like 3.
Yeah,
where you're
why hasn't Mahershala made anything in 7 years?
Like and then you're like, he's made so many things. I know.
Right.
And like Causeway, not a bad movie. Brian Tyree Henry, fantastic. And it, like, truly great.
I was going to say, it felt like part of the phase 2 thing that all the press she was doing for that movie was kind of just pushing him. It felt like, I mean, they had talked about that movie was written to be something very different, and he had a very small part. And they were like assembling an edit, and they were like, it feels like the only stuff that's working is our scenes together. And they went back and rewrote and reshot a lot of it. And she was like, this is a 2-hander. And it felt like part of her, this is my next stage, is like, who do I want to work with? Who do I want to boost? And she uses all her power to basically get him a nomination for a movie that no one remembers.
Yeah. And then she makes No Hard Feelings.
Which was good.
It was good. But she is like, look at me doing like a hard comedy, right? Like
I know. There was this sort of a try-hard element to that whole rollout. And then I saw the movie and I was like, I think this movie is sort of a cut above. And I really like the underlying themes of that movie. I like that it's about like trashy Long Island, like true like Montauk lifer people being like, man, it fucking sucks here now. Like all these rich people have moved here. Like, like that's like the undercurrent of that movie is good.
I agree. I think that movie fucks up.
And that movie's fun. The ending's a little blah.
Yeah. But that movie also has kind of a weird reputation because it's like there was a lot of, is this the Great White Hope that brings back the theatrical comedy? here's Jennifer Lawrence, one of our most powerful movie stars. She hasn't made a commercial film in over 6 years. Here she's back post-pandemic doing a sex comedy.
Yeah.
Is this going to like light the world on fire? And it does well.
But not the way people wanted it to.
Immediately explodes way more on Netflix. And people were like, why wasn't this a bigger hit? But then you're like, guys, come on. She was right here.
Yeah.
Like, support her when it's happening.
Yeah. And then now we have Die My Love, which is the movie that was going to be like, here she is, serious actress, like doing this like really like wrenching, difficult, real work, just going places you haven't ever seen her go before. And again, it does not really get there.
No, and it's also fascinating because this is one of her best performances, I think.
Oh, I think she's incredible.
It's like arguable it's her best performance.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's arguable. I think it's in the conversation.
I think it also like it.
It's sort of where it's how you think of Winter's Bone.
Yeah, and I think it also it's such a deliberately difficult role, right? Like it just is like both opaque but also like so raw. Like she is both like letting you into these like incredibly dark, weird emotions, but also, and I think this is a bit of a Lynne Ramsay thing. You're kept at a distance from her, right? You can't entirely figure her out. And so yeah, she has to work with a lot of deal with a lot of different kind of like tensions, but I mean, she just throws herself in it so wholeheartedly.
Also, possibly why Mubi went so like goo-goo-eyed at this movie, where you're like, fuck, it's funny. Like, she is so inherently funny and is able to make comedy out of odd, difficult things, Jennifer Lawrence, even just in her like oversharing press tour way, that you're like, fuck, if you map that onto a Lynne Ramsay movie, does this thing have enough kind of like weirdo laughs like The Substance that there's a more commercial push for it? But then you're like, what's the movie about? And you're like, well, a woman collapses. It completely deconstructs. It's a fascinating case. And yeah, I think, she's doing the Scorsese movie next. It feels like she's being very selective. There was this moment a couple months back, David, where they announced like 1 week into filming that Taylor Russell was being recast in Michael B. Jordan's very expensive, starring and directed by Thomas Crown Affair remake. And in one of our group texts, we were like, okay, thought experiment. Who do you slot in there? If you're Michael B. Jordan and you're like one of the like kings of 2025, and this is your next directing project, and your chosen female co-star doesn't work, and you need someone on set within like less than 5 days, and you presumably want someone who you can like go toe-to-toe with, right age level, whatever it is. We were like, who does he pick? And we were throwing out names. And I at one point said, like, I mean, if you really fucking want to go for it, you cast Jennifer Lawrence. You cast Jennifer Lawrence in the Faye Dunaway, Rene Russo parts. But is he willing to see that much ego? And beyond that, you said no. And you also said, I think she's just firmly in her weirdo phase now.
A little bit.
I think she doesn't really want to play that game. There's an argument that, her reps would probably be like, please, Jennifer, can you just get paid $20 million to do this and then make 3 more weirdo movies? And it feels like, to her credit, she's like, kind of done with the game, want to just use my power to make whatever I want to make and work with who I want to work for and with. And I also think in talking about her like sort of disappearing for a couple years and why there was so much energy and excitement for this movie, it's also like she had 2 kids. She like focused on her family. She focused on her personal life, and Causeway and No Hard Feelings aren't tapping into that. No Hard Feelings is kind of pretending she hasn't gone through the growth that she has talked about in the press. And so when this movie's announced, it's like, oh, well, here's Jennifer Lawrence, who seemingly holds nothing back, and she's making a postpartum movie. What is she going to share with us?
Right. This is the problem with being a Jennifer Lawrence, Angelina Jolie style movie star, where it's like every movie has to be like, okay, but what is it saying about you right now? Like, what phase of life are you in? What era, what Taylor Swift era are you doing now?
I think it's less that it's like, what is the comment you're trying to make, or what is the statement? And with her, it's more, especially in her 20s, David O. Russell kept pushing her into these roles that were 10 years ahead of her in life experience. And you were like, I guess through sheer movie star power, I am vaguely buying this woman being widowed, having 2 children, all these things. And it just for someone who feels so emotionally intelligent, but was able to kind of render these things that she had no experience with, I think it was more like, is this about to be some level up moment in her ability with her being able to pull from life? Not what she's trying to communicate to us in the press or how she's going to use this movie to talk about her own personal experiences, but more, does she have a new well to draw from?
I think that's true, but I think it's also, I think we've all been waiting. You know, she is someone who is this very powerful and undeniable A-list actor, but like she has spent so much of her career either, yes, in these roles that didn't feel quite right for her, that she made work through sheer talent with David O. Russell, or in these giant franchises, right? Like at the same time, she's playing a widow and a mother of 2. She's playing this fighting teenager, right? You know, she's playing Katniss in The Hunger Games, and she's playing Mystique. There is this real sense that so much of her career, so much of the path that made her this giant movie star was also like never quite right. You know, like she was always playing roles that were never quite, they didn't seem like something that were like, that was kind of like defining her, or like that she really had a full, like that fit her perfectly, you know?
No, it's odd. It is odd for someone who, you step back with some distance, and her 2010s is even more astounding by how kind of anomalous it was at a time where the industry was like, maybe movie stars don't exist anymore. And she became pretty undeniable. And yet it was like they milked that so hard and so fast. And the whole kind of like inevitable Jennifer Lawrence backlash, which she clearly, in doing press for this movie, took very personally and was like, I'm too much. You know, I wasn't aware how people were seeing me. It's also just like, you break down the years and you're like, she was making 2 or 3 movies a year. And it was basically every year she was alternating between an X-Men and a Hunger Games and a Prestige movie. Yeah.
Yeah. It's interesting on this press tour with, now who was I listening? So I've listened to, she was on Polar's thing.
Mm-hmm.
She did that kind of like.
Late?
What?
No, late, I was saying. Like she did that fairly recently. Yeah.
Well, I think Polar kind of doesn't care, it seems, as much about like, you know, timing it to really, I don't know. She did that kind of like half-hour chat with Leo, the actors and actors thing, which was like, you know, no one has quite gotten Leo to open up, but like she had her moments with him, you know, like
the closest I've seen.
Like a couple moments with him. But I'm trying to remember where she sort of acknowledged essentially to one of those. David O. Russell, I think, really taught me how to act. I know that's not the experience everyone has with him. You know, like, and she didn't say it in a dismissive way. She said it in a kind of like, I think it was quite helpful for me. I do know that like the way he works was not helpful for some people. She hasn't worked with him since Joy. I always found
an incredibly weird movie. Also, such.
That movie came out early in the history of this podcast. We talk about it a lot on one of our Force Awakens episodes with Emily Yoshida, because I think I had just seen it, because it is indeed a really weird movie, and it has all the problems that all the movies she made with him had, where she's fundamentally wrong for the role. She's kind of working it anyway. Like she's kind of like, but then the movie that's happening around her is also kind of chaotic and stupid.
I was thinking about,
like, Silver Linings is the best of those movies, and I think that's like a really chaotic and
I agree.
movie.
I agree. We in the week we were recording this, the most recent episode of Critical Darlings was talking about Begonia and Emma Stone and Yorgos kind of getting into that David O. Russell, Jennifer Lawrence auto lock nomination Oscar favorite state, and no one was pissed when Emma Stone was announced as a Best Actress candidate. I didn't feel that. At least,
I mean, people were not like, oh, yes, that's like, you know, but no one was angry.
But I can't remember if you or Richard said this, but the morning that Jennifer Lawrence made it into the Joy 5, there was a feeling of like, fuck that. And it's that kind of thing that Ben Affleck talks about, of like the weekend after Gigli being like, I'm in the worst state my career could possibly be in. I can sell magazine covers, but I can't sell movie tickets. Everyone wants to hear about how I'm fucking up in my personal life, and no one wants to hire me. Everyone else can make money off of me. And there's that sort of feeling of like, okay, Jennifer Lawrence, you automatically get nominated every time. People now resent you for it. Which, it just, the moment that movie came out, it was just like, it happened one time too many. It's too late. Everyone wants you to go away now.
Yeah. And I mean, so like after that, she did what, like Passengers?
Mm-hmm. A disaster.
Yeah, a disaster. Like just like a really incredibly unpleasant premise.
Yes. One of the most miscalculated like star packaging. Yeah.
Yes. And of course, a blacklist script. I think it's often a very cursed thing.
I have often contended you read that original script and it's a really good Twilight Zone premise.
Yes.
And it was so buzzy and it necessitated such high production value because of the space thing that everyone in Hollywood thought it was meant to be romantic. That they just interpreted it entirely wrong. Yeah.
Right. Maybe there's a better version of that movie with what director? I don't know.
I'm trying to remember who the director.
Like Fincher. Like, but I mean, like, why would he do? I mean,
there was an earlier version of that movie announced. I'm trying to remember if there was a director ever attached, but I believe it was supposed to be Keanu Reeves and Rachel McAdams. And you're like, immediately that makes so much more
those are
sense.
actors I vastly prefer. The problem is they are not, who Jennifer Lawrence and Chris Pratt were in 2015.
At that point in particular, that version of the movie died because it was pre-John Wick Keanu. And it was like, he is worth
was like a
negative money.
Yeah.
But you're like, the sad, haunted Keanu thing.
Yeah, that would make so much more sense in terms of what that character does.
I know.
Yes.
Rather than Star-Lord being like, I woke you up.
Right. Like, aren't you psyched? Now we have to live our full lives together.
And like Imagine Dragons place. Passengers, yes.
Passengers, and then Mother.
Which was much like this, like a wide release, like out of the gates that bombed.
Yes. And also, I mean, is this...
It's similar, right? Where they're like, 3,000 screens for this, and the audience is like, no, what?
Yeah, what are you doing? Also, like, I don't know, it has like weird undercurrents, like their relationship, but also like so much of that movie is just like tormenting her. It is just like...
Yes, that movie is her going... She's actively stressed. She's shouting her head off about the sink not being braced.
Yeah. Right. And then the baby. Remember the baby?
They eat the baby.
They eat the baby.
As I happily tell people.
It is in the
George Clooney
eating the baby canon.
I hear they eat a baby. Yeah. I'm into that.
They eat a baby, as many X-Men directors have done. Is that my new terminology? We have normal and we have X-Men director. Go on, Alison.
Well, and then, you have like Dark Phoenix, if not a movie.
Disaster.
Never happened.
Yeah.
And then Don't Look Up.
Yeah.
When
is Red Sparrow in there?
Red Sparrow. I missed Red Sparrow. Red Sparrow is right before Dark Phoenix.
A movie I softly defend, but certainly have never like cared to revisit.
I don't think I ever saw it. I always think of it as like her Salt, right? It's
her Salt. It is very obviously, and she has talked about it, about the sex crimes that were visited upon her. And her trying to kind of reclaim her naked body on screen and her sort of her sexuality, her like feminine
it's an ownership of sexuality movie. Yes.
And it's also like a decent-ish spy movie, but you are kind of like, this is like a Verhoeven movie, and I like Francis Lawrence, but he's no Paul Verhoeven, and like this is not quite nasty or freaky enough, but it is like an R-rated, sexy kind of violent spy thriller. And so you come away with kind of like, okay, I ate an okay sandwich there. Yeah. I know that could have been better.
But when you look at, what was it, 5 Hunger Games movies? Because it's 4 books and 5 movies.
Yeah, there were 2, right? Mockingjay was 2 parts.
She makes 4 X-Men movies. The first 3 work commercially to some degree. And then the first 2 David O. Russell movies like soar past 100 million, 300 worldwide, whatever. That block was so fucking strong. And the fact that she's winning an Oscar, getting nominations in between, seen as supporting 2 franchises, the X-Men movies start to warp themselves around. Right, we all remember that Mystique is the leader.
Everyone, yes, the best known and most famous X-Men.
Of course, the whole time. Like, there's the insane thing when you watch Days of Future Past where they're like, this movie needs to have her as ostensibly the lead character, but also her scheduling is impossible because she's doing Hunger Games. So she needs to have the primary plot thread where she's also on her own and we can shoot her separate from everyone else.
And then, but also they're like, we've got this incredibly famous actor, and also this character is blue all the time.
Yes.
Like, we need to figure out ways that she's not in like full body makeup.
Barely ever.
Right. The fact that the first one is like, you need to be blue because that's like your true self.
Right.
And then in the other one, she's like, yeah, but I'm not going to do that much.
But like
I'm
no
mostly
one,
going to like be 70s.
I feel like the response at the time was like, yeah, smart. Build your movie around Jennifer Lawrence. People weren't like, oh, they're shoving her down our throats. And so then there's the thing of like Passengers like squeaks to 98 million or whatever.
Yeah. It was a flop.
It is a flop.
It was sort of like, right, like less embarrassing than it could have been because it's sort of made, but it probably made international money.
I think so too. But
we're just doing a Jennifer Lawrence thing.
I think it's important. You get to a point there where they're like, okay, but if her in a turkey still gets to 90 something, and obviously that movie cost too much, then making Red Sparrow for 40 or 60 or making Mother for like 40 or 50 still makes sense. And I think there was this belief of like, is she just the one person that her audience will auto buy a ticket? They will follow her anywhere. And even if Mother isn't going to make $100 million, maybe it makes 50. And instead it's just like, no, she's making things that are like unpleasant to watch, often by design. It feels like that was the phase she was going through and testing it.
She's made one pleasant to watch movie. And like before that, the movies she made were Hunger Games, David O. Russell movies, and X-Men movies, none of which are light and, fluffy.
No, I mean, X-Men and Hunger Games are both.
She's made one
franchises about oppression.
Fun movie in her entire career.
You would say no
hard feelings.
Right.
Like, obviously X-Men movies are fun. Like Hunger Games movies, I mean, they are fun, I suppose, but like they're pretty dark.
They're dark, yeah.
Like, I really think that's Don't Look Up is a comedy, but it's a comedy that bums you out.
It's also just like really not fun.
She's like the angry character in the movie too. She's playing the least fun of anybody. I think that's why there was so much hope around No Hard Feelings, is like, wait, you're telling me it's Jennifer Lawrence press interview, the movie? That part of her power was this like, oh my God, she's this powerhouse dramatic actress. She can do action and she can like do the dialogue. And then we see her in interviews and she's funnier than comedians, and people, I think, liked the contrast between the two. But then the hope was, if you let her be funny in a movie, is that just going to explode the box office?
But we hate comedy now. We just don't.
That's
we don't believe in it.
Yeah. I think she's probably happy enough with No Hard Feelings. I think if she looked at Anyone But You, she might have the thought of like, should I have like done a rom-com with like a really sort of established handsome actor guy rather than a silly
that
guy.
Role.
Yeah.
Also, I think she would have killed it.
Can you fucking imagine?
Yeah.
That's actually like upsetting to run the simulation.
Yeah.
But she should be happy with No Hard Feelings, which is a better movie than Anyone But You and did pretty good.
Yes.
I also contend, and I felt this way at the time, No Hard Feelings comes out like June and then goes to Netflix very quickly. It's on the service by like September or October and immediately kind of explodes on Netflix. And I do feel like Anyone But You got a bump from that. I was seeing so much social media FOMO of, oh, fuck, there was a good comedy 3 months ago and we didn't go. That Sony marketing, both of those movies kind of capitalized upon. Well, don't miss this one.
I would like to see her in just a full romantic comedy.
Yeah.
I think that'd be interesting.
Yeah.
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 She's kind of steered away, in Causeway. That's like a platonic romance almost. Like her character is gay.
It's a sweet movie.
Yeah. And then No Hard Feelings is like, kind of about.
and once again,
yes,
Lynne Ramsay's Die My Love on paper is offering, hey, do you want to just see Robert Pattinson and Jennifer Lawrence go insane?
Right.
Let's talk about Die My Love, which is a movie I like. I know you like it, Griff. Allison?
I like it.
Yes.
I think I feel like it feels unmodulated to me. It does feel like it starts at a place, it's so high already, like, and then kind of like just keeps going. It just like it barrels right off a cliff, But I do think she's incredible in it.
It grew for me a lot on second viewing. And I think I struggled a little bit on the first time, liking, not loving, being like, I guess this has to be my default bottom Lynne, just because every other one has kind of totally knocked me out. And I think I don't know. I have a read on all of that made it work a little more for me this time. I do want to, in this miniseries that we're now finishing on Lynne Ramsay called We Need to Pod About Casfin, introduce our producer, Ben Hosley, because I feel there was a need to get this out of the way.
What's up?
From the moment I saw this movie in theaters, I was like, this movie has the number one scene designed to turn Ben Hosley off I have ever seen in a film.
Yeah, it's when she shoots the dog.
Yeah, I just could not think of a thing that would auto-block Ben more than lead character of the movie shoots a dog and you have to sit with it for the second half of the film.
Yeah, it happens pretty early, too.
Yep, like halfway through.
The way I feel about that, in the same, any movie that has violence against children or animals, is you're always kind of like, well, you really have to earn this. Like, I'm not mad. Like, on principle, you can depict things. I understand. But I do have this kind of just sort of like, are you just trying to provoke me or put me in a mood?
Now, granted, the dog is incredibly annoying.
Yeah, that's a real asshole of a dog. Yeah. But yeah, I know as a dog owner, it is difficult for me to watch that. I do feel like the thing that Robert Pattinson's character does, which is to show up and be like, I got a dog, you're going to take care of it, is like one of the worst things you can possibly do to a partner.
It is. I mean,
yes.
The movie is playing with something, which is like, it is actually designing a perfect anti-save the cat, right? Like it is going against every
But that's
rule.
what I'm saying, right?
Yes.
Like, are you just doing this to do that? To have like this spike in the movie that will kind of like really set me, in a certain mood.
I think so. I think it's less about like...
Because like when John Wick's dog dies, then I'm like, right, well, he should kill all those people.
Yeah.
It's different. You're like, he needs to kill all the people now.
The rule is if you kill an animal, everyone's going to be upset unless that is used as motivation for vengeance and the audience feels like there's catharsis and justice, right? Save the Cat is less about like stupid imposed lines of like Hollywood thinking and more just like actually an understanding of human psychology of most people will just clock out of your movie after this point. And I think it is less that like it does the shocking thing just to get a shock out of you and more does the shocking thing to say, and now like what is your relationship to this character? Because we're not moving on from them and this is not a dream sequence and you have to like live with this. And to a certain degree, you're like held hostage by her in the same way that he is, right? If you're in a relationship and someone shoots your dog, you're like, I think we're breaking up.
Yeah. I would. I mean, I have never had a dog, but yeah, I think I would have some notes for that person.
I think it's a pretty short conversation.
I think it's crossing a line for me where the fact that they then go on and she continues to cross so many more lines until someone finally intervenes.
Right.
It's pretty wild.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is the challenge of this movie is that it sits in her experience so thoroughly, right? And to the point where you're like not sure what's real or what's not sometimes, right? Like the motorcyclist neighbor who shows up for a while, you're like, is that real? Like, is that really a person? Like before you see that he's Lakeith, he's just like in a helmet, like a kind of like music
like
video
phantom,
figure or something.
right.
Yeah.
I thought it was like mental illness.
Exactly.
Like looming in the distance.
Yeah.
Which to be fair, like Lakeith Stanfield as a figure does kind of represent that.
But like that, the way like that whole thread is handled, there's a long stretch where you're like, I cannot tell how much of this is just in her head.
No, and even when you have the scene in the parking lot, you cannot tell what you're supposed to take away from that.
Yeah.
I mean, did we ever fully?
No. But I think with the dog or with Robert Pattinson's character, whose name I'm forgetting. What is his name?
His name is
17?
Jackson.
Oh, Jackson.
Okay. So with Jackson, and I think like the question you might have throughout of just like, why is he still around? And also why does he, after a lot of these things happen, be like, let's get married? Is that I feel like we're so deep in her perspective that we don't actually get a sense of what she might be like from the outside, See,
this is interesting. I mean, I think, what I was saying about like dog killing being a bit of a deal breaker in relationships. It's like this person has a child with this woman. So there is like a sense of,
you can't just be like, Jesus, you're too much. Enough. Yeah.
Right. For a guy who is a character who certainly is not good at expressing himself or working through things or feels like he's really good at engaging with the severity of things, there is like a struggle to calculate like, well, even if I perceive this woman to be like a physical threat to my child, what do I do? Is having her institutionalize the move, is moving away from her the move. Like, all of these things have like eternal ripple effects on the health of this child. Whether you remove her from the equation or keep her close, there's like pluses and minuses. And you're like, but now he has like witnessed her do a thing that he's never going to be able to get past, right? It is an act that, much like the way it stays with the audience, you're just like, he can't process that. He's never going to be like, well, that was a bad day, right? Like, there is like a core trauma there he's never going to be able to move past. And I think in terms of like, where is this line? Why are they allowing it to happen? Why does he then decide to get married to her? There's a thing that I found very informative with this movie, which is like, it's based on a book. The book is very much about like how much is in this person's head, psychosis in a postpartum depressive state.
It's also not set in Montana.
No.
It's set in France.
Yes.
Right. But it's the idea of being isolated and losing a grip on reality. That character is not a writer. And yeah, there were a lot of changes made. We'll open the dossier in a moment and get into all of this. And it is offered to Lynne Ramsay, and she goes like, I feel like I did my version of a postpartum movie with Kevin.
Sure.
Do I want to repeat
Although
this?
she did that before she had children.
Well, that's A. And B, I think she's like, okay, is there a different in for me on this story? And she keeps saying in interviews, I didn't see this as a postpartum movie. I saw this as an opportunity to make a mad love story. And when I read that, I was like, what is that? And what I think she's saying is literally that it is a movie about falling in love with someone who is severely mentally ill. It is a movie about getting in too deep in a relationship with someone where, in your 20s, a lot of things, people who are really engaging and charismatic and have like exciting personalities start to experience significant breakdowns in their late 20s and 30s. And you realize these are traits of latent mental illness and the exact things that make someone like Jennifer Lawrence seem like this is the most exciting girl in the world. You keep wanting to excuse things. And the further the signs present themselves, the more there's a sunk cost fallacy of, to accept this at this moment is to look back on everything and invalidate it. And this guy is just trying so hard to be like, what will reset her back to 3 years ago? There's clearly a thing. And I think this movie's failing is it doesn't totally dramatize his character correctly. I think this movie would connect more if it could find a way to explain his point of view a little more. But I think it's just, how can I deny that I was wrong about this person or the sense that this person is gone? And what can I do to try to get them back?
I think that's a great point. Though I think that,
especially now that there's a baby in the mix.
Sure. Though I think like the idea of being like this, like telling that story, but telling it from her perspective is like what is so disorienting about this movie, because it is like to be like, this is a movie about loving someone who is like who is spiraling out in a way that they're probably not going to recover from. But also you're going to see it from the point of view of the person spiraling out. But also I think his character, and I understand why, because if he were too sympathetic or too responsible, you would just totally lose her, right? Like you can't just be like, why doesn't he dump her? But like
they talked about in the book, he's way more of an oaf.
Yeah.
That they were like, we wanted to make him more emotionally engaged,
Yeah.
Even if he's not 100% able to,
At the same time though, he does, like he comes, he's like, I got a dog. And then is like, and then he's like clearly, and then also, remember there's that scene where he's like, we need to talk. Leave the baby behind.
Yes, insane.
And wrestles her into the car and drives her off. Like that, like for all that you're like, there are legitimate reasons why some of these characters would worry about the baby. Though like she is also like always very careful with the baby, even when she is like walking off into the woods. There's never a question like within our perspective that she is like not caring.
There's the knife in the beginning.
Right, but like that's like a tease, right?
I don't know. She gets quite close.
I feel like she has
with
never
the knife to
even
the baby.
The movie also like there's that point where she's like the one thing that works is like the baby, right? Like that, like she even says as much at a certain point.
I sort of eventually realized, right, the baby was not really going to be
in danger from
danger, yes.
Yeah. But I
mean,
she is a danger to herself.
She's more a danger to herself. Nonetheless,
yes, Yeah. But yeah, like, I mean, it is interesting that like it puts in these scenes where Pattinson is the one who is like, Jackson is the one who is careless about childcare.
This is a problem I had with Night Bitch, a worse movie that nobody remembers. Mariel Heller's Night Bitch.
But a movie I was thinking about a lot during this rewatch because there is so much overlap between the two of them and sort of the bigger ideas.
Exactly. Did you see Night Bitch?
I never saw Night Bitch.
Night Bitch coming. That's a bit from 2 years ago.
It has the same sort of plot of like, we're with this mother who is struggling. Obviously, My Bitch is very much a postpartum movie that's about her struggling with like how her body has changed and blah, 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 blah. But the husband's there and seems like not like a complete dolt, but also like kind of careless and like not very emotionally like
Scoot McNairy as a bit of a well-intentioned back.
Where he's like, I want to play Xbox. And I was just kind of like, I think he has to be stupider or smarter. Like, I just think like the guy you're showing me, I think would be a little more on like that his wife is turning into a dog. Like he needs to be dumber, like, or something.
I agree that it is the fundamental Achilles heel of this movie, Die My Love, is that exact problem. Where the 2 times I've seen it, I'm like, Pattinson either needs to be significantly smarter or significantly dumber. And I have seen him play both incredibly well many times. I know he has that range. Part of
the
it
problem
also,
is if
he's so interesting and so hot.
He is.
That he needs to make a stronger choice.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
The problem is that if he's too dumb, then it's about being married to a dumbass.
Right.
And that's not what it's
right. And then it just
about.
like, and then I think it becomes something that
and
the movie.
If he's too smart, then you're like, why the fuck isn't he just like,
well, that's it. The movie doesn't want to. It kind of takes a lot of pains to reject the idea of being like, oh, it's so awful. Like I'm trapped in this marriage to this, like just to this useless slob, right? Like,
yes,
he is highly imperfect, but you have sympathy for him.
Right.
As well.
It's also not a story about like moving to Montana making you crazy, but they have moved to Montana and she is going crazy.
Yeah. Or about feeling like you can't express yourself creatively. I mean, we never really learn about her writing at all. Like the writing is almost this like asterisk of being like it symbolizes something she can't do anymore, potentially related to her mental health.
But we see her write once in a very abstract way. Spreading some ink.
Yeah. Oh, sure. Right.
Yeah.
As well as some
some fluids.
Milk.
Yeah.
I mean, it's new. It's different.
It's true.
It's fresh.
It's on the paper.
Literally
It's very
fresh.
fresh. It's very fresh.
I'm sorry.
No. I agree. I agree that that's the thing holding this movie back from like greatness for me, and the thing that puts it at the bottom of the pile for me is, I think the Pattinson character is kind of operating from a belief that this is a postpartum thing. I understand that I don't understand this. Maybe I just didn't know it was going to be this extreme. And this will end. We will get to the other side of it, right? And I think a lot of this movie is about the rejection of there is something larger here. Postpartum has possibly broken a dam of many, many issues. And, all the women around her are sort of like going like, yeah, I had like a night bitch phase too. Anyway, now I know how to wear clothes. Like I used to scream and throw knives. Anyway, now it's 6 months later and I'm a little bit okay. And you just got to like shove it down. And everyone is sort of saying this kind of like Stepford Wivey, like, yeah, you just suck it up and no men want to hear your problems and you get through it. And
I think they're also kinder about it, right? Like,
they're not being assholes about it.
Like, can I help you?
Yes.
Like, can I please like do anything?
We have to stick together because they don't understand what's going on with us. But also in saying that to her, they don't understand what's going on with her.
Yeah.
And I think to her, that being communicated also feels like you're telling me there's more of this. Like this is not reassuring. Can we crack open the dossier, Mr. Sims?
So You're Never Really Here.
Mm-hmm.
Came out 8 years prior. Once again, she has a long gap between projects.
There's pandemic and such. There are many projects that come close to happening.
I'll tell you something.
Mm-hmm.
One is a Civil War movie called Call Black Horse, starring Casey Affleck.
Okay.
Nothing else has ever surfaced about that one.
0 ways that could go wrong.
She says she wrote 160 pages of a script that is an epic environmental horror thing. nothing's ever really come of that one either. She signed on with Village Roadshow at one point to direct The Girl Who Loved Tom Gordon, which is a Stephen King novel, like not Stephen with a PH. Who loved...
Not Stephen with a PH?
No, it is Stephen with a PH. So fucking JJ actually fucked up. Wrote his name wrong.
Yeah. JJ, walk into the burning woods.
Yeah. She apparently, once George A. Romero had been sort of tasked with making that, she wrote a screenplay for that. It's about a hike on the Appalachian Trail, a girl listening to the radio. She gets lost in the woods. Sounds sort of interesting. Nothing has ever come up. The two big ones are a film called Polaris, which has long been in development, long attached to Joaquin Phoenix and Rooney Mara, about an ice photographer that's set at the turn of the century. She says it's a passion project. No, we don't know.
That is the one, because I have sort of wanted to do her as soon as she made a new film. Most years until this year, there was maybe Polaris is filming in a couple months.
There was an erroneous account in Variety that it had wrapped production.
That was the thing that really fucked us up, because then people were like, are there 2 Lynne Ramsay movies in the can?
That is simply just not true.
No,
and it was just a mistake.
True. But it always kind of felt like that was closest to happening, and then this movie leapfrogged.
The other thing was Stone Mattress, an adaptation of a short story from a Margaret Atwood collection.
There was also erroneous reporting, because she had been attached to Stone Mattress, that
so that was going to have Julianne Moore and Sandra Oh and be set on a ship.
Right.
Yes.
I feel like there was also a point where it came out in some interview, Jennifer Lawrence and Lynne Ramsay are working something, and then people erroneously spread that it was Jennifer Lawrence has signed on to Stone Mattress.
Sure.
Yeah. This movie came
They would have had to shoot it in Greenland.
Okay.
Tropical.
Yeah.
And they struggled to, it's hard to, set a movie like that up. She also floated working on a TV show, a TV series that never happened. Anyway, as we know with Die My Love, what happens is Martin Scorsese, who has a book club, which has unnamed film directors who read books with their eyes towards adapting them. I don't know who's in this club.
No. I'm guessing it's probably him and a couple X-Men directors.
He read...
what does the term mean now? Griffin's made it very flexible.
He read Die My Love.
Yeah.
Written by Ariana Harwich, I think, Argentinian writer. Found it to be a powerful mosaic of the mind and handed it to Jennifer Lawrence. He had liked Mother, and he basically said, I think she can pull this off. Apparently, he had come to her once before. Our friend Gia, who's on this podcast, in the profile said that apparently Kate Chopin's novel The Awakening had been something Scorsese brought to Lawrence, but nothing happened.
It felt like he's had his eye out for her. She's wanted to work with him. They're in communication. He will send her books that he thinks there's something in that could fit with her.
Lawrence decides that she's always wanted to work with Lynne Ramsay, said I've wanted to work with her my entire adult life, and sent her the novel directly. And they email for about 6 months about being moms and other things. Ramsay's a little, as you say, wary, because she's kind of like, I already did. We need to talk about Kevin. But, a major movie star is trying to work with her and is handing her something.
Ramsay also is like, hey, I don't want to make that. I'd rather make this. And Lawrence was like, this is the movie I want to make.
Lawrence was persistent. And so Ramsay had to be somewhat won over, but she kind of fucked with the story, turned into more of a love story, according to Ramsay. Yes.
May I read this quote I found that I thought was interesting, that Jennifer Lawrence gave to IndieWire? She said, Scorsese hands her the book, says, you should do this. And Lawrence's quote is, I sat with it for a while, and then once it all clicked that it isn't a literal adaptation, that it's more poetic, then I realized Lynne Ramsay was the only person that we could conceive of making it, because she's the only poet I know of that makes movies.
There you go.
And so part of wanting her to make it was being like, I want you to interpret this how you want. I think when Lynn is like, I don't know, is this too similar? This book, she's just like, you figure out your version of it. That's what I want to do. But it feels like there's a lot of empowering of, I want to be in whatever version of this you want to make.
So Ramsay says, I want to put humor in there. I want it to be a love story. She says something that I think is a little silly, which is the whole postpartum thing is just bullshit. It's not about that. It's about a relationship breaking down. It's about love breaking down and sex breaking down after having a baby. after having a baby is what postpartum
Yes,
is.
right. Yes.
So
Yes.
it is a postpartum movie, but okay, Lynne Ramsay.
I think she just is probably reacting to how much that was like reduced to the log line of the movie.
Sure.
Yeah.
I think Jennifer Lawrence is very much like, this is my Gina Rollins movie. Like,
Yes,
right? This is me being
100%.
Cassavetes,
Yeah. And
but
an interesting thing, she has 2 children. She's talked about a lot in the press for this movie that she did not have a difficult postpartum experience mentally and emotionally after her first child.
she had a tough one after her second.
When she films this movie, she is like less than 3 months pregnant,
Right.
which is how they're able to do things like the breastfeed, like lactation, like practically. And she, by being in her early stages of pregnancy, she's physically more believable as someone who's like recently given birth. She's making this movie being like, this is pure just acting for me. This is like fucking Jenna Rollins. This is going off. This is exploration. I'm not pulling for anything in my own experience. Then she wraps this film. She has a second child. She has a really tough postpartum experience there. Lynne Ramsay edits for a while. She goes to see the movie at Cannes and she like breaks down crying. And she's like, I was representing a thing I hadn't experienced that I'm now watching and is speaking to me. It's just kind of a fascinating, I don't know, catching her at that moment.
It is interesting. It's interesting that she made this while she was pregnant. I think it was a pain in the ass.
Probably.
Lynn decides to move the action to Montana. I mean, she wasn't going to make it in France, right? Like, I guess that makes sense. And she never really met the author until after the movie was at Cannes. So she didn't really delve with the author on what it's about.
And she gets the Disco Pigs guy to adapt it.
So 2 people, Edna Walsh, who's a playwright. He's the guy who wrote Small Things Like These. Is he the Disco Pigs guy?
I think so. Am I wrong about this?
I don't know. Let me look it up.
Okay, well, let me look it up.
Yeah. He's the guy who wrote the play Disco Pigs way back in the day.
Which was Cillian Murphy's launchpad. Yeah, as both play and movie.
And then Alice Birch, who wrote Lady Macbeth and then worked on Succession and stuff, like basically was brought in as a script editor, like as they're in final weeks of prep. And Lynn was like, you did the work. You should have a credit too. So that's why there's 3 credits. Pattinson said the first draft was funnier maybe. And then and the husband was sort of just a device in the book. Like he's just useless. And my character was kind of like that in the first draft, but then it's sort of beefed up with every draft. Sure.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it did. I mean, he's got stuff to do.
They got 30 to 40% of the way there to a character is what I find frustrating.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, he's just, we see him through her eyes so clearly. It's so clearly a subjective experience of him that it's hard to,
There's a lot of stuff I can infer, but it's still hard to kind of make sense of what he's doing on a scene-to-scene basis. I can kind of zoom out and go, anyway, go on.
Well, I mean, the cheating, right? When you're like, how much of this is her channeling her own frustrations and her own feelings of her sexual frustration, her feelings about her body, and then how much of it is yes, there are condoms in there. And I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah. And I mean, I feel like Ramsay makes a real choice to establish a pattern of him looking at women and looking at women who you have to imagine are similar to Jennifer Lawrence when he met her. There's sort of the alternative girl who is the waitress at the diner, and the 2 girls on the beach, and sort of who has this kind of rough energy in their mid-20s that maybe he's now on the business end of and is longing for again. But you don't really get any larger allusions to, he's texting someone under the table or whatever.
No. And he's also hot. You would feel jealous and crazy because he's a good looking guy. You're just kind of well,
right. Who's on the road.
I'm sure people are interested
unspecified
in you,
job.
Right.
Yeah.
Lynn, Lawrence says Lynn is very emotionally led, not controlling, crazy. They do these sort of rehearsals where you kind of just exploring the space and being weird and a lot of stuff comes out of that.
Yeah. And, Pattinson, who I think is fairly studious as an actor and trying to prepare things.
Pattinson, I've been told, is a very serious rehearser who struggles with, it was Eggers who told me long ago, this is The Lighthouse. with Willem Dafoe being more like, let's go crazy in this scene.
Right.
And Pattinson was like, oh, fuck. I really got the voice down. And I've been working on this scene really hard.
Yeah.
But then I assume he's done a lot of work since then where I assume, again, he had to kind of adjust.
Lighthouse is an interesting comparison point because you're like, that's kind of, in theory, what should be the juice of casting him here. Is placing him into an unstructured environment with an actor who is so famously instinctive, instead of intellectual, and then having him struggle with an environment that he can't figure out the framework of. And I feel like Lighthouse gets that. He channels his frustration into the character.
He's great in that.
Which is the primary thing
and he has the more tough role. So
exactly.
Yeah.
Right. And they don't quite land on it here. But he tells this story about there being a 5-page dialogue scene that he worked really hard on. That he is a real fucking notes in the margin of the page kind of guy. And they got to set. And Lynn's like, I think we do this without words. And he was like, which part? And she was like, all 5 pages. And he was like, I guess this is just what this is.
Yeah, I guess this is the process here.
Right.
I would be annoyed. I'd be a bit irked.
Different people work different ways.
Pattinson had never really met Jennifer Lawrence before, but I always wanted to work with her. They were chatting about something and she was like, do you want to be my husband in this Lynne Ramsay movie? This is how he puts it. Pattinson is notoriously someone who kind of massages the truth on press tours because he gets
unreliable
bored.
narrator.
What are you talking about? Didn't a clown shoot his dad or something?
No, that's Shia LaBeouf.
The cooking things, right? Where he invents weird cooking things. Yeah.
Yes.
He's, but he claims that Jennifer kind of, offered it to him somewhat casually because he was kind of like, why are there no cool jobs? And she's like, how about this? Makes sort of sense because it's this is not the kind of movie you package with 2 stars. It is a Jennifer Lawrence movie. And he is certainly playing a supporting role. But he seemed to have a good time. He's a very game actor. I love him in so many things. I like him in this. I walked out with very little to say about Robert Pattinson.
Yeah, I mean, he's good at playing kind of slightly unreliable or disappointing, like that aura. I think he's good at conjuring. But it is like you said, it is 40% of a character.
Here's what I think they're trying to get at with this character, right? I was watching it a second time, the opening of the house, right? And them walking into it. And one of the first thing he says is I could record music in here. And you're like, okay, so, and he's talking about his childhood memories of the things that happened. They are inheriting his uncle's house. They are moving back to his hometown, closer to his parents. His father, played by, I don't know this actor. I've never seen this guy before. He's kind of got just a generic everyman vibe, voice.
I think he's a non-professional. They just found him.
They just found a guy. He's like a Kevin O'Leary, right? Nick Nolte on fucking fire in a tiny role, but I think he is devastating in this movie. It is such an impactful 2 minutes or whatever it is.
Couple scenes. Right?
Yeah.
Is it just one or no? It's a couple scenes.
2. It's
the
basically
scene in the woods as well.
The scene in the house that's extended and the scene in the woods.
How much Nolte has there been lately?
Not much.
Yeah. What's the last?
I mean, he was in 2. He was a thing called The Golden Voice, which
I got a golden voice.
Yeah, I can't say I know much about. 3, and then it's 3 years ago he was in the Josh Duhamel movie Blackout.
Of course,
and
obviously.
2 years before that, I mean, he's barely done anything.
Yeah, he is now 85 years old.
That's old.
Yeah,
I mean, he's been around a long time. But I mean, I was trying to think what's
Poker
the last
Face. Poker Face is the thing.
Oh,
I knew there was something in the last couple years. I thought
TV
he was
that I
great
loved. He was great
but
in.
He's got his spotlight episode of Poker Face.
And of course, we all enjoyed him in The Mandalorian, but I think that was just a voice.
Well, what are you talking about? I'm in the costume. I'm pulling a dwarf. I'm on my knees playing an Ugnaught.
I love the Poker Face episode
where
he was very good.
He plays Phil Tippett basically. Tippett. And have you watched that episode, Alison?
No, I don't think so. I've watched a lot of Poker Face, but kind of
he
all over
plays
the
a
place.
stop motion animator whose career is over. That it's a very obvious homage to Phil Tippett.
Consciously, and I think Brian Johnson's friends with Phil Tippett. But Phil Tippett talks about his own mental health journey and the kind of breakdown he had when CGI replaced stop motion, and it's very much Nolte playing the recovered version of that
But
guy.
he is also a murder victim. Like,
Yeah.
he's not in it
But
too much.
He's heartbreaking in it.
He's great.
Yeah, it's a really great performance.
But like, yeah, what's like the
Yeah.
last, I mean, A Walk in the Woods is, I feel like, the last time he was like on the poster in a real movie that came out in theaters.
I believe he is
And that's
like
2015.
the and an Angel Has Fallen.
He is in Angel Has
where
Fallen.
he's revealed to be Gerard Butler's dad, which totally makes sense.
You're right.
Yes, of course you are.
Oh, and this is so crazy. He plays someone who lives in the woods.
Oh, weird. Yes, he's definitely, they're like, where did you come from, Angel? And he's like, well, it's a long story. And then it cuts to Nick Nolte being like, I make wood guns.
Haven't seen that. That's the third one?
I'm a Secret Service agent for the trade.
That's
the third one. Right, because
So-
the first one, it's the president is taken. The
Yeah.
second one is the prime minister is taken. And the third one is he is taken, I think. I don't know. Yeah.
Well,
I believe you.
Nick Nolte, Ramsay said, I just thought of him for the role, and I asked to meet. He asked to meet me in person. I went to Malibu, and she says, look, his face is mesmeric, and you can't take your eyes off him. And, so it's like, I don't know. It's not like she had to go hunting for him. I guess he just doesn't work much, but like he makes sense here. Sissy Spacek is great.
Makes a ton of
obviously.
sense. Yeah.
She's just a great actor. Lawrence, she's in Causeway. So Lawrence had worked with her.
Okay. Right. I forgot about that. Yeah.
I confess I also forgot about
Yes.
that.
But
And then Lakeith Stanfield.
Yeah.
And
I mean,
barely in a role.
barely in it.
odd,
It strikes me as the kind of thing where he's the kind of savvy, arty actor who probably is like, I'll definitely work with Lynne Ramsay. And she says in the interview, I'd love to do like something bigger with him.
I wondered like if there were more there that just got chopped down to like this kind of weird vestigial storyline.
I mean, it's not Terrence Malick levels, but I do feel like she's a filmmaker where like you sign up for the movie and you're like, there's a version where you're in the whole thing, or maybe you have no dialogue. It does feel like, even though it's a little distracting because he's famous enough that you keep expecting him to do more, the movie is asking him to do a thing that is so tied to his innate energy and presence that it does feel like it is effective shorthand casting in a way. But you are also like, did they really just get Lakeith Stanfield to show up and like kiss her twice in the woods?
I think they may.
And then give that horrified look when they had that encounter in the parking lot where he was like, oh no.
Right. The idea with the Pattinson character, right? That this is where he grew up. His father is in a pretty extreme state of late stage dementia, it seems. And his mother is a very fragile woman, it feels innately forever. And his uncle has died. And you can infer that there was some sort of, well, there's this house, we could move there, we could live for free, the cost of living is so much lower. Maybe if we want to have kids, isn't that a better place to raise kids?
I feel like it's right. Also, it's implied she's pregnant already, right? Like, I mean, in that first, like, kind of like montage where they're kind of dancing and cleaning, it cuts to her being pregnant almost immediately. So I presume that part of the impetus was like, if we're going to have kids, let's go. We can have a whole house.
Yes, right. Yeah. It feels like even if she doesn't know she's pregnant when they enter the house, it is a thing that they are trying to make happen. But yes, when he talks about like, I could record music here, it's like there's a sense of they must have met in some cooler college town. They both left wherever they grew up and were like hip, young, artistically activated kids together who stayed together. And now they're at this inflection point where he's presenting to her, well, my dad's sick. This house is free. We want to have kids. Isn't that a better place to raise kids? And when he gets back there, he kind of resets back to who he was growing up.
That's her fear, that he's sort of shedding his...
That's where I think there's almost
cool
a character
energy.
here.
Right.
That it's like this guy is surrendering his cool energy.
You kind of have to read it in, but
To what degree did he just always kind of want to drive a truck? Right. And that was like a dalliance to be like, I make music and shit.
He puts down the IPA and he picks up the Budweiser.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And, this is what's comfortable to him. He's so like activated. The most excited, I would argue, he is the entire movie is in the opening, pointing out to her in the house. That's where I chipped my tooth. Like, he's like, I've returned to my core self. And can I get over this like performative social jockeying, especially if we're together, because I know this is the person I want to be with. And to her, it's like, well, I don't know, like, if writing is my core identity, but certainly if someone like this is a writer, people go like, she's like a writer. She's all crazy and she does crazy stuff. But if she stops writing, then they're like, what's your deal? He wants to keep saying, I'm going to do music, but he seems to have no ambition to express himself creatively in any way.
He likes guitars.
Right.
He's so offended when she's like, I hate guitars.
Right. Right.
It's just like such a great thing to just say to someone out of the blue to like,
funny.
Yes.
Exactly. But
who hates guitars?
But it represents something to her.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Like, you get
you
it.
understand what she's feeling at that point, and she also just wants to make him mad, and she's coming out with that. But I think also, you get that flashback early on of her. I think it's like the Nolte scene where I think it's like Thanksgiving dinner maybe, and it's like all of the women are at the table and all of the men are in the other room, and you're like, you can sense her being like, oh, is this my future? Like this kind of like, we're in the kitchen or we're at the table and we're talking about women's stuff, and like this like really traditional gender split and these kind of like gender roles. Like you can watch him becoming more. I mean, there's a point where I mean, she's obviously acting out at the pool party, but like he has like a panic attack over that, right? Like that kind of like he is already settling into this more kind of like socially conservative pattern that he grew up in.
And it doesn't feel like that's the first time he's had that reaction. It feels like he constantly lives in fear of, the thing with her, sometimes she has her moods,
Right. And like suddenly she has gone from being like, they're both like arty kind of like, like wild and crazy kids to being like, she is the crazy one.
Right. And here is kind of like, her coming out party to the neighborhood in a kind of way. It's like, we fixed her, we're a happy family, and now like meet the other housewives. And I think you're right that like even the scene with Sissy Spacek where she goes to visit her and Sissy Spacek holds her up a shotgun out of fear that someone's breaking into her house is kind of like Sissy being like, welcome to the club. You're on the other side. Here's how we swallow pain. And that is just fucking terrifying to her. The idea that there is now an expectation of normalcy or at least keeping up appearances. That it feels like what Sissy Spacek is saying to her is, yeah, we all feel insane. We're all miserable. All of this is difficult. Here's how you handle it. And that is not a thing she's interested in doing at all. And I think it's so telling the moment when Nick Nolte is struggling to tie his shoes. And she goes over to him. I think it's maybe the single best moment in the film. And it's key to my reading of what does work in this film. Is you're like, this guy's off in the corner, struggling so deeply with such a simple task. And it is that like sadness of the elderly feeling the frustration of their loss of ability to handle a thing like that and not knowing what the right way to relate to them is in that moment, to not be condescending, to be helpful while also not feeling like you are robbing them of any power or ability. And she just starts like communicating with him through like faces, like expressive sort of like like fucking like commedia dell'arte versions of emotions.
Right. Like hold up the like, are you happy? Are you sad? Like a medical chart. Yes. Yeah.
And you just see him find a moment of comfort with her where it's like, fuck, we speak the same language. There are very different things going on in their respective brains, but there is a similar, I can't engage with what's happening over there at that table. And what's happening between us is not verbal. And he has this moment of peace and focus, and he helps her, or she helps him. And then 30 seconds later, he freaks out not knowing where he is and who's alive and who's dead and why they're in his brother's house and what year it is.
Yeah.
People sexiest man alive.
You know what?
This year, right?
Yeah.
Yes, Alison.
Yeah. My favorite scene is the one he's driving her back, I think from the hospital maybe, or like this is after a little while. She's like thrown herself through
she do throw herself through window.
Yes.
Right. Her relationship to the woods is very similar to Forky's relationship to trash.
Yes.
Where he's just, I got to get back in
at
there.
all costs. Yeah. Be I nude, be it on fire. I must be in the woods. Yes.
Right.
But so she's thrown herself through the window. He's taken her to the emergency room. They're back. She's like, her face is like covered in scabs still. And she's like, when's the last time we had sex? Do you know? And it's starting,
I really like this.
Yes. And kind of demands that he say that he desires her, and then starts being like, are we going to have sex tonight? Are we going to have sex when we get home? What if we have sex in the car? Like, right. And it's so I think there is this way in which she kind of like revels. She's still obviously Jennifer Lawrence and like one of the most beautiful people on the planet, but like revels in like these moments of kind of like grotesquerie almost in the same way
And
she makes those
she's
faces.
being like a little rabid squirrel.
Exactly.
Like, which she's good at.
Yes.
Like,
and it's like, it's really funny and he's so uncomfortable and he's so trying to be like, no, I'm into it. Like, I love this. Like, yes, like let's
really
have sex
funny.
in the car with my mom in the house right there watching our baby. like it's so good. I think like those scenes are where I really enjoy that performance.
Right. The thing I liked, there's lots of things I like. Like, I do buy that she's like, why won't you fuck me?
Yes.
And he's like, no, I will. But he probably doesn't want to, partly because she do be throwing herself through windows all the time, I suppose. But like partly because of normal postpartun kind of things.
And he's clearly very stressed.
and,
yes.
Right.
And even though
like,
he's looking at other women.
You know, right. That'll turn your house into a Polanski movie eventually, right? Like everyone will be crawling up the walls.
He's looking at other women, but it doesn't feel like this movie is doing a thing that I think a worse film would, which is sort of implying that it's like, well, now that she's had a baby, you know, she's not quite the same anymore. And I'm not really attracted to her anymore. It is like everything else going on with her is overriding his animalistic instincts towards her, which seen by the naked dancing at the beginning of the movie clearly used to be their language.
Right.
And
or that's how she feels about their old relationship. Right. Like, even if you want to just be in her mind's eye, it's like, yes, we used to have this.
Right. And when she's like, why won't you fuck me? You used to fuck me in the car. She gets really like graphic in the description of like the process of physical maneuvering to have sex in the car. And he's just like, I don't know what. I mean, first of all, if you're intellectualizing it in this way, we're past the point of spontaneity, which is what you really want. And also, our life has too many responsibilities to be that spontaneous in that way, is what he like does not say to her. But it is why he's like, no, I guess I do want to fuck you, but not right now.
And then isn't it the mom is right there?
Yeah, she's babysitting.
Yes.
So yeah.
And in my memory, also that scene is pretty shortly after the dog.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's like she throws herself through the window, and then like I think there's like a few more scenes after that, and then this is
right.
So yeah,
because there's like a feeling of when they have these confrontations, it being like the to-do list of things we need to talk through is now like 6 items long.
Right.
We still haven't really wrestled with the dog thing. You know, to some degree, the scene where he's like driving her, I think he's driving her after she's killed the dog, and he's just looking at her like, do I know this person? But he's also trying to like combat his fear and disdain with like, should I be worried about her? Like, what does this say about what's going on, and what do I need to do to get through to her? That is the sort of like mad love story part of it. Of I cannot fully divorce my emotions from this poor person who I now can't really understand.
Yeah, she's transformed in some way. She is, again, I keep thinking of No Hard Feelings. And Mother, I guess. I'm trying to think of like her most feral other performances. And there's like roots of it in the David O. Russell movies where she's, you know, quote unquote, she's sort of being crazy in like this 70s throwback way that feels fake and stupid to me.
I mean, you know what, like movie this one made me think about is Melancholia. You know, like very much beyond like the wedding scene also is very much like it starts off and it feels like it encompasses a whole year's versus drama worth of drama, and also just falls apart so spectacularly. But also like the depiction of depression, you know?
Well, I think Melancholia is a very powerful depiction of depression, right? And like I am kind of here and there on Lars von Trier, and that's a movie that I saw at the time and liked a lot, but wasn't even like, some people were like best movie of the decade.
I love that movie.
I think that sounds incredible.
And right, and then it quickly kind of like stuck with me.
Yeah,
where I was like, I think I might have also just been feeling really bad after I saw that movie because it's about feeling bad and it worked. It did a good job conveying the feeling of feeling bad.
Yes.
Whereas this doesn't, to me. This more rattles me, this movie, like and like that's fun. Like it gets a rise out of me in that way. But it didn't really, I didn't feel in her head maybe in the same kind of profound way.
That's a Lynne Ramsay thing also,
yes,
I think.
Right.
Yes.
And you were saying this movie is so much from her perspective. I think this is like weirdly the least protagonist perspective centered film in her oeuvre, which her work is so intimate and inside the head that still makes it feel more sort of singular through this one character's eyes than most movies. But I think it is a little zoomed out. She's not doing, the main device of the book is how much of this is real, more Repulsion style. Where is the line kind of stuff.
Sure, right. Yeah.
And I think part of that is that, and partially some of this is the framing and probably why like Ramsay is pushing back on the postpartum thing. Not to say that isn't part of the soup, but just like to frame it that way makes it a depression movie. And does this movie work as a depression movie versus I feel like when we get to the scene where she is committed to the hospital and she's in the sort of like group therapy environment. And for the first time, we get like backstory from her. And it is in a worse film, in a worse piece of material, the scene where it's like, oh, and now she breaks down crying and here's the core trauma.
She's smoking a cigarette and she tells you, right, that her mommy never loved her or whatever.
Right.
Like,
and then it's solved and then she can move forward.
Right. And instead, she like kind of very bluntly, offhandedly explains to this therapist. I said group therapist, but it's a one-on-one scene, right? I can't remember now.
Yeah.
She says to this guy, like, yeah, my parents, and here was the dynamic, and my parents were unhealthy, and it was an emotionally unstable household, and both of them died in a plane crash. And she's sort of presenting it as like, but that like doesn't have anything to do with me. And there's a sense of like, there is something that has been unacknowledged in her family for a while. There is something that has just been treated with a kind of like white knuckle get through it attitude, perhaps. And that then can be manifested and like owned as being a spark plug and being like wild and being creative and all these sorts of things.
I think also, I think there are multiple possible elements, right? Like her childhood and, her attachment issues and postpartum and other depression, but like she rejects all of them, right? Like she does not latch on to any of them.
Yes.
And I feel like part of like I think the power of this movie comes for me from her just being like, it doesn't actually matter which of these things it is because I cannot get a hold of it. And I think like a lot of the great parts of her performance are the ones where she's just conveying someone who is like almost just like impossibly restless and unhappy in her own skin, like when she does this thing where she like kind of like drops over from the waist, like her her strings have been cut, like she's a puppet whose strings have been cut, and then or she makes those weird faces when she's in the car, like she looks at her own body, the lower jaw thing. Yes. She looks at her body in the mirror in ways that are almost like clinical, like I think there is this really. I think she does a lot to convey this idea of someone where you're just like, what if you can barely stand to inhabit, not even in disgust, but just like you barely can stand to inhabit your own body and your own
right.
skin.
And everyone is constantly trying to point to things that are circumstantial. Well, it's tough moving. This is a big culture shock for you.
And you're like, those things possibly all contributed, but they are not helpful for her as like solutions.
There's a talking around the thing that feels not just about everyone around her, but also about her and her parents and who knows how far back this goes, if it is like kind of acquired trauma from behavior or if it's chemical or what. But yes, there's sort of like, to a certain degree, like postpartum is the red herring of this movie. And I feel like the Woods thing is her just naturally being drawn to the idea of going back to some natural state, right? It is literally like, can I be a naked animal in the woods? Can I be Night Bitch? I just want to fucking stop pretending. I want to stop being told there is a way to behave. I want to like get on all fours and eat leaves. Like, what is all of this? Like the idea of the pool party is just feels like fucking theater to her that she cannot maintain for more than 2 minutes. And it is so heartbreaking to me because you have this arc of her going in there. You see her settled in the hospital, her temperament has certainly calmed down, even though she doesn't seem happy. You were like, there is a mania that has lowered. And now it's like, has she, the first time watching this, I was like, is this movie a kind of tragedy of some part of her getting doled off in order to survive. And instead, she just rejects it within 3 minutes. She has to like tell this woman off to her face and rip her clothes off. And what makes sense to her is to like look at the young cashier at the gas station and be like, why the fuck are we talking? Which is another one of the best scenes in the movie.
Yeah,
Unfortunately, I relate to that scene.
You hate small talk?
Yes, I do. And I, over the pandemic, briefly spent some time in New Hampshire, rural New Hampshire. And having grown up in New Jersey, tri-state area, lived in New York, like I'm so used to social interactions being brief and curt, and maybe some people would interpret it as rude. I actually really prefer the quick, just, you don't even need to make eye contact with me.
It's, yes.
And so being
it's a Northeast thing or whatever.
Being out in this rural setting and someone just being like, how about the weather, huh? Like chit-chatting with me. I definitely had these moments where I was so tempted to be like, enough. Just give me the thing, man. Just ring me up. Like, right. I really get it.
Well, and it's a thing that Melancholia gets as well, which is like, that movie is all based on the idea of melancholia, the idea of this planet crashing in and possibly pretending an apocalypse, being a metaphor, but also being real, which is the power of that movie, which is just like when you are at a deep, deep stage of depression or mania or any other number of things, you are catastrophizing everything, but also you might be right. There is a degree of like broken clock 4 times a day kind of thing. Like maybe this clock has like multiple correct overlap moments, and she's just kind of like seeing things clearly at times, there is, and that also then makes you want to, I think, as a person in like a Robert Pattinson position, go, well, she was like good yesterday, Like yesterday she was we actually had like a conversation. You want to believe that there's an understanding there, but then you see a situation where you're like, what is the point of you asking me questions about my baby? Nothing is accomplished by this. I cannot pretend. Doesn't she make the joke too of like, what's his name? And she's like, I don't know. We haven't really
we decided not to name him. Yes. Yeah.
And yet she has no friends.
Right.
Yeah, no,
we learned she has no family.
No one in her life at all.
Yeah. She's so isolated.
You get the sense that I think they were really relationship people. And now it's not like he seems to have a lot of friends on the side. He just wants to like go drive his truck by himself.
But he also just slips back into his old life like a comfortable shoe. Like it's just
what you kind of imagine his father must have been like. Like a kind of stoic man who was like sweet at times, but mostly just wants to go on like long rides.
Right. And then comes back and is like, why is the house so dirty?
Right. And that scene where he calls her from the diner and she goes, you're eating lunch or you're eating a cheeseburger. This feeling of like, you can just go and do that. Like you're doing things without me. I'm here listening to fucking Hey Mickey 20 times in a row, which I also think is such a good capturing of a certain kind of like mental anguish of just like, I don't know, I just need to keep fucking listening to this song.
He's got the car.
He's got the car.
They have one car.
Yeah.
And there's something too about seeing her throughout the movie pushing the baby carriage on dirt roads along a highway. It makes me nervous to see it happening.
And the only place she has to go beyond the gas station store is like her mother-in-law's house. There, there's really nowhere to go otherwise. Yeah,
she doesn't dislike, but she clearly cannot find a shared language with.
Yeah. Though I do love, there's an expression in Sissy Spacek's face towards the very end where she does that toast to like, may we all die out. That like expression on her face is so wonderful because it is so like, I understand you precisely in this moment.
That's why I think the Spacek casting is so good, because you can tell Spacek is a person who always feels so emotionally vulnerable that she cannot be someone who is just putting a brave face on something and not showing you any of how she actually feels. And I think Lawrence is terrified about the idea of being someone like that who isn't numb, but is spending that much active energy suppressing for outward appearances, suppressing to not make other people uncomfortable.
Yeah. I mean, I think one of the best aspects of this film is that it does acknowledge all of the ways in which the women get a raw deal, right? Like from like, yes, being stuck at home with, you know, doing what is not considered work, right? Like even though like childcare is obviously like requires so much from you and is difficult. And yeah, kind of being expected to just like take care of the house as like part of this, like, the ways that all of the women are like, yeah, isn't it amazing how you just like lose the thread for like 6 months to a year after having a child? Like that's just part of it. It's really hard.
Don't
like,
tell me that.
Yeah, and like all of those things. Or even like Sissy Spacek's character having kind of molded her entire life around this kind of coexistence with her husband to the fact that she cannot conceive of a way to even like cook for one person. You know, like I think there are ways it acknowledges all of those things. But also is like, I reject that as like the reading of this movie, right? Like Lawrence's character keeps being like, but that's not the answer for me. Maybe, yes, it is maybe accurate, but also that you cannot solve me that way. This is not just about the hardship of being a woman and being a mother. This is about me, my specifics, which are no one can quite grasp.
Right. And I think it's part of what's amplifying everything innately in her is the biological phenomenon of, you know, being postpartum. And the other part of it is she is almost pushing past and acting out further beyond the more everyone tries to tell her, we know what this is.
Yeah.
Like the more people try to kind of tag her and put a box around it as an experience, the more she's pushing up against it.
I mean, I guess what I'm alighting on is my problem with this movie, which is I like the atmosphere of it and I like the performance a lot, but I felt like I had to be doing a lot of the deeper reading into it, kind of. Which is fine. I mean, which maybe that's fine. And maybe that's kind of the Lynne Ramsay experience, because that's sort of true with all of her movies.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like
yes,
with Morvern and with You Never Really Hear. I mean, there's little bits of context you get about these characters.
She doesn't like to explain.
In like piecemeal, flashbacky kind of ways.
Yeah.
But
and Kevin is all that.
Yeah, they're all designed to be opaque. Yeah.
They all have that approach. And so I guess I'm wondering why. Or last year I was wondering why. A Lynne Ramsay movie that was good was kind of like more of a top 25 movie for me than a top 10 one, right? Like, you know, I wait and like, cause you know, what was the difference here? Like what sort of kept it from,
I think
the highest list of movies I enjoyed in a good movie year.
I think it is the Pattinson character. I think maybe I need to shake out my final 10, but it's like, does this make it in or not is a question for me. And I think that's the thing. It needs to really kind of be firing on all cylinders. Like you don't want to tell the movie from his perspective, but you kind of need this character to be able to communicate what's going on with him better. Because I think the movie is structured in a way where you're engaged enough to do the work about her. And doing the work to fill in his character feels a little annoying. And I think it's also just what we're saying of like, he's just a little too innately interesting as an actor that if things aren't fully fleshed out, you can't buy it. You can't buy blankness from him. You know, there needs to be like specificity. He's so odd that you can't just be like, I get it. They cast some boring dude. The dude doesn't matter. You know, I mean, you like talking about like Night Bitch, like Scoot McNairy is a great actor and he's a good actor. Super like electrifying, wiry character actor work. But also like casting him as the husband who doesn't quite get that his wife's turning into a dog in Night Bitch is the same as casting him as the dad who doesn't quite understand why the crocodile is singing in Lyle Lyle Crocodile.
And is that who he plays?
That's who he plays.
I haven't seen that.
There was a shade of him that works as a kind of milquetoast like, I'm sorry, what's going on here? And then he can also do more interesting stuff.
Was he mad to have not made the above the title billing of Lyle Lyle Crocodile?
Do they only offer 3?
They only have the 3.
Yeah.
He's on the poster.
He is.
Going like this.
He's
He's gesturing with his thumb at the crocodile. And
This
at
thing.
Javier Bardem.
No, his performance is real. What am I going to do about this? So what's end the voice of Shawn Mendes?
It's Javier Bardem, Constance Wu, and Shawn Mendes as Lyle.
Yeah.
Yeah, the kid's not getting is that, which Fegley is it? One of the Fegleys.
It's the younger Fegley.
It's a Fegley.
It's a Fegley. That's from tip to toe. That's a
We'll
Fegley.
get you a Fegley. That's what they said.
How many Fegleys do you want? 2?
That week.
You want a double Fegley or just one?
Can you get the tongs and pull a Fegley out of the
fuck. We're out of
the soup
Fegleys.
for me?
Yeah, would you be okay with a jupe? Can I give you a jupe?
Oh, the jupes are kind of high value these days, though. They're stored separately.
Oh, so you think that maybe you get a Fegley if the jupes are sold out?
Yeah, I think that's the case. Yeah. I think for me, the reason this is a lower tier Lynne Ramsay movie is just because it feels so, like unmodulated. Like it does feel like, even that very first scene of her kind of like post the dance, setting up the house montage when they have the baby is like her crawling in the grass with the knife. You're already like, you're starting at a place of like splintering. And I feel like it doesn't, it goes up and down a bit, but it feels like a movie that is like operating at a kind of a scream throughout for me. And I feel like that after a while loses effectiveness.
I think that's a strategic decision to try to make it clear that whatever's going on with her didn't start here, right? That this goes far, far back. But the other movie I was thinking about a lot while watching this, a movie I did not like was Together.
Oh, I thought about Together as well. Yeah, I mean, it is about moving out to...
that part of it, where it's like, here's a hip, artsy couple, and one of them kind of wants to try a more rural life, and the other one feels like they're suffocating. And that is a movie that is like so thuddingly literal with what is happening psychologically, not just the metaphor that then turns into the heightened horror, but also like the character constantly explaining exactly what he's grieving and what he's processing. And that's a movie that does it so fucking much. And also I think it's a little murky with its supernatural rules to a degree where I'm like, you push me away. You're not letting me do any of the work. You keep going and you get it, right? In a way that like really turns my brain off. And this movie's doing the opposite, where I'm like, you maybe need to tell me 5 to 10% more directly.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, there's that point where you're like, am I reading into the film or am I just filling in because I need, like, I'm coming up with my own material here?
Yeah. And yes. And the rubber meets the road with him, And I think the scene of her with the therapist and explaining basically her parents not wanting her. I mean, this feeling that they did not know how to deal with her.
Right. They'd been handed something they weren't really prepared for. Sure.
Right. And it's still elusive enough where it's interesting to sort of try to parse. Was that her from birth existing in a natural state that was more that they could handle, speaking to the extremity of the child? Or is that a reflection on them and a path that she is continuing? She obviously is trying to exist in opposition to her parents because she is, despite sometimes dancing naked with a knife around a baby, I think very invested in the idea of being present in this baby's life. And yet she cannot fucking figure out how to do this. I think part of her seemingly intentionally getting pregnant before they are even married and making this big commitment is she does like the idea of like, what if I could be the opposite parent? That is me filling in a lot, right? But she's also sitting there going like, yeah, but that's not anything. And they're like, and what happened to your parents? Died in a plane crash. As if like, right, that's like a normal thing. I have no problem with the fact that both of my parents died in a plane crash after having a terrible relationship to them. That's just one of those things.
Here's my
happened.
question.
Please.
Did you assume she was telling the truth there?
I did, but I do think it's an interesting question.
Yeah, because there are other times where, I mean, when she says like, we decided not to give the baby a name, there are other times where she kind of like or I hate guitars, she's like testing people. And there was this moment when she says it where I'm like, it's possible her parents are still around and she just hates them.
It's totally possible.
Yeah.
This character is the Joker. She could be telling you 5 different stories of like how she got her scars. But in that moment, I believe it because she is not being antagonistic with him. She is trying really hard to take any weight off of what she's saying. And she also has gone into that environment seemingly going like, I get it. I need to fucking work on this. This is like hit a breaking point. After the wedding in particular, which is also so interesting as a contrast to Melancholia, where like That whole movie is basically built out of the wedding.
And you put your character in a big white dress, it's
Right.
gonna set a mood.
And you have this core kind of like betrayal moment in the wedding of Melancholia where you're like, well, that's a point of no return. Like that's gonna fucking break everything.
Who's she marrying in that one?
She's
is it
marrying
Kiefer Sutherland?
Isn't it Alexander
Or is it Skarsgård?
She's marrying Alexander
Yeah.
Skarsgård.
Kiefer's the dad?
Kiefer's
I remember Kiefer being really weird in that movie.
Yeah. Am I wrong in thinking that Kiefer's her boss and that Stellan Skarsgård is his dad? Or do they cast Stellan and Alexander not as father and son?
Alexander is indeed, the husband. Stellan is the boss.
So then Kiefer's the dad?
And Kiefer is John Claire's husband. And so, yeah, right. He's the dad because Claire is Charlotte Gainsbourg.
Wow. Yeah.
Who is, no, right.
Isn't Skarsgård the boss and the dad?
Jesus. No, it's maybe, but Claire is her sister.
Right.
So Kiefer's her brother-in-law?
Right.
Oh, yeah,
Kiefer's
yeah.
married.
Married.
One more
Yeah.
pass on
Yeah.
this.
No,
Kiefer's married to Charlotte.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right. I have two questions. One, did you know that Angelina Jolie made a movie in 2024 called Without Blood?
No. What
A
is this
war
movie?
drama. It was at TIFF.
I'm
and
hearing
it
this
was
for the
released
first time.
in-
I'm holding one
I was
finger
just
behind
looking
my
up
ear.
like
Oh,
Seamus.
she directed it.
She directed it. I'm looking at Seamus McGarvey's recent credit. He shot this
This
movie.
does sound familiar.
Beautiful
to me,
movie.
actually.
It is,
Yeah.
and he's obviously a very good cinematographer.
He
But
literally
he's got some
yeah.
wacky ass credits.
Yes. He also, this movie felt like an opportunity for him to do some wacky ass shit where he was like, hey, Ramsay, here's some stuff I've always wanted to try. What if you literally set lenses on fire? They did that, Ben. They were like, let's experiment with like burning lenses and like camera gates.
They
what
shot it in
happens.
Academy, which is a classic thing to do. I think when you're dealing with like inside, like doors, trees, like things that are vertical.
It's also so funny that was just the standard kind of like prestige ratio for so long, and any type of movie could fit in it. And now if a director's employing it, it's like psychological claustrophobia.
Yeah.
Can I make
Which is often what movies look
We're
like.
trapped in the frame. Yeah.
Sort of a square frame versus a wide frame.
Got it. May I make a comment
please.
based on that information?
Mm.
That's like a hot shot.
It's a hot shot. These are some hot shots.
And then I just walk off.
The camera
into
was,
the woods.
I want to make it clear, Ben. The camera was not on fire while they were filming. They weren't like lights,
Oh, damn.
camera, match, action. But the sort of like inky quality to it. He was trying to see what would happen if they caused that kind of intentional damage.
They shot on reversal stock, which I think is a huge pain in the ass to use because you can't control light very well with it. And so the night scenes they didn't, but otherwise McGarvey wanted to fuck around. He wanted a non-naturalistic thing. Indeed, he was burning lenses, which created an inky look that he thought was cool. He shot Kevin, but I guess not You Were Never Really Here.
Yeah.
Which was shot by Thomas Townend. Not someone I know. I had another thing to say. Oh, is Joker, played by Joaquin Phoenix,
Arthur Fleck,
the fourth or fifth best Joker in films? Like, it's like he's not even top 3, I don't think.
Well, so what? We're saying Ledger is
Ledger
number
and
1.
Nicholson
Ledger,
are
yeah.
at the top.
I haven't seen the Nicholson one for so long. I really need to revisit.
It's pretty good.
It's pretty
I mean, I
fucking
guess you
awesome.
can put Phoenix in 3.
No, but
I feel like you would easily just put like Mark Hamill
I was going
cartoon
to say,
Joker.
Mask of Phantasm was released
Right.
in theaters.
Mm.
Hamill is a lock for 3rd.
Right.
Many people would argue he
Well,
should be
he's
higher than
higher,
3rd.
right.
But there's no way that he's below Phoenix, a man who won, the second man only in history. That's what people don't realize. Only 2 men have ever won an Oscar for playing the Joker.
More people should do it.
Isn't that crazy? There's only ever been 2.
So, okay, what happens in Time Life?
Can I go back to the wedding for a second?
Yeah, no, that is a vital, that's like the big,
Right.
thing in the movie, the big
it's
sequence.
sort of like the big final battle of like, can we construct a set piece to make her happy, right? Like if we have this wedding and we presumably invite all our friends from our past lives.
Right, and then you'll fuck me, right? Like,
Right.
it'll be our wedding
It has
night.
to be. We're
Right.
literally putting pageantry around this.
Yeah.
And we're kind of like owning the country western thing in a hipster way rather than the full immersion that you have been struggling with. And it was where I kind of the first time watching it started to be able to fill in some of the blanks on their backstory of just seeing the guests at the wedding and being like, oh, these are their friends from their past life. There is whatever percentage of like family, but here are all the friends they have not been seeing who are down with their weird shit, who are into like, yeah, they do weird fucking dancing and look at their outfits and whatever. And then she just takes it too far. She gets too loose. It stops being funny.
It's not funny. She's going, kiss me, like, essentially. And you're like, oh my God.
She
Like,
kisses Sissy Spacek.
And also, it's like the baby is there. Like everyone is like, she's still acting like this with the baby.
Mm-hmm.
I know she's had some drinks, but like we thought she'd kind of chill out when she was a mother. And then you feel like there's going to be a Melancholia thing of like, oh, she's going to vindictively fuck someone else.
Yeah.
Spoilers for Melancholia because her husband isn't fucking her on her wedding
It seems like it's going to be the guy, the front desk guy.
Right. Who she invites up and then just listens to him play acoustic guitar. And you're like, this woman just like does not know what she needs.
But also, he lets her go up to the room by herself and just is like, I'm going to apparently stay here at my wedding without you and just like make nice with my family.
I was gonna say, it feels like he's strategically like, I can't deal with whatever the fuck's going on up there. Let her do whatever the fuck she wants to do. I need to do damage control for all of our friends and family who I now embarrass myself in front of. And that's his priority, is like the reputation over the relationship. Or even just like really kind of seeing her as a person. That's what I have to say about that.
Yeah. What do we think about the John Prine song? It was all over the place. I feel like
yes,
love that song.
I do love that song.
It's really
John
good.
Prine.
It's
the whole soundtrack's really, really good in this.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was looking at a GQ article. Lynne did an interview talking about her process with picking music for her movies. There's some
she always has
interesting
great
stuff.
soundtracks.
So the Cream Crossroads drop was actually suggested to her by Marty Scorsese.
I mean, it makes sense that Marty might think of
it was like a song he always wanted to use.
Well.
Yeah, for sure. The punk song in the beginning is her singing.
Oh.
As well as the cover of Love Will Tear Us Apart is also her.
Yeah.
Is Jennifer Lawrence singing?
No, it's Lynne.
Really?
Oh.
Correct.
That's wild.
Isn't that cool? And I thought the Joy Division cover was excellent.
It's excellent. Yeah.
It's really good.
Yeah.
That is super fucking cool. Yeah.
Johnny Greenwood didn't do the music though. But no, sorry, carry on.
The reprise at the end of the John Prine song. And who's the other performer we should say? Yep, Iris DeMent. Was not planned. It was just something that she spontaneously decided to do on the day of shooting, which I think is really such a lovely scene and almost like a little moment of like being able to take a breath. And then unfortunately you have the ending.
Yeah.
Well, I kind of like the ending.
I love the ending because it's just sort of like...
It's the ending this movie has. It cannot be she comes out of the hospital.
No.
And he's like, look, I fixed up the house and I'm being better. And she's like, oh, you know what? That's what I need. Yeah.
Literally.
Right.
This
I
is
was so worried it was going to be that.
This is so bad of me. There was a part of me like, can she just wake up and it was all a fucking dream?
Sure.
No, I mean,
Jesus.
I just like that she's like, no, enough. Like, I fully do not want to do
Well,
this.
also, like we've seen the forest on fire in the beginning. You got to come back to the forest on fire at the end, you know?
Right. And it's the final exchange with Nick Nolte of just like, you're kind of like returning to the earth, you know? Like you've lost your ability to engage with the idea of society and like polite manners and social interactions and all these sorts of things. I don't read it as, and look, obviously there are many things we read bizarrely in the Ratcatcher episode, a thing that I have thought about since that episode came out. And I do think, Sims, there is something weird to the fact that you and I both saw that movie really young. And I think kind of locked into our young reads of the movie, not being able to pick up on some of the more complicated
I guess
things.
so, but that was no good that I was not like, speaking of that. Like,
no, absolutely.
Right,
but I was genuinely watching that movie from a weirdly naive perspective that I just, in trying to rationalize it, I think has to come from like, well, when I was like 12, my like sense of context clues was much lower.
Sure.
Than what literally is being depicted on
completely
screen.
Missed that, like in our description of it in the episode.
Yes.
Specifically, just so you have context,
they're assaulting the character.
There's these boys who are sexually assaulting this female character, and I just think, missed the mark and sort of defining the dynamics.
Like what, we were kind of like, they are being bad or they are misbehaving.
I think I said sexually charged bullying,
right?
Which
it's
understand
clear that
read as me minimizing a thing rather than me
something bad is
having a
very
bad brain and not
happening.
interpreting a thing correctly.
Right.
But I don't. Now, as I apologize for my last incorrect reading,
but I think I'm right about this.
Yes.
No. What?
The movie's about trauma. No, I think.
Oh my god! Like Toxie?
Yeah, it's about Toxie. It's about Toxie and Sergeant Kabuki Man, NYPD. That's why she's going into the woods, because they're all hanging out there. Poultrygeist. I don't read the ending as a suicidal thing.
No,
and
she's just done with it.
Exactly.
It's not her thing.
It is metaphorical, but it's like metaphorically. It's metaphorically behavioral, if that makes sense. It is sort of like a worldview thing of like,
right.
I'm done playing the game.
Well, it also like you get her walking into the flames, and then you get like the shot of the house with like the cake, right? Like, doesn't it kind of like there's like,
I think it says "Welcome home, mommy," or "We love you,
something
mommy."
like that. Where
Right.
I feel like there is you could read the other thing of just her leaving, like she is.
Yeah, it's like
walked
because they're
out.
trying
She
to be
has
like,
left,
are you
right?
now ready to be mommy?
Yes.
Right.
Like,
and that story she tells to the therapist is about like seemingly kind of being abducted by a woman and feeling a relief at someone else taking her away from her parents, who never knew how to deal with her. And
or just also that like this 10-year-old girl, right? She says she's like a 10-year-old girl who like took me the way like those girls on the beach want to take the baby, right? Are like kind of like, oh, it's so fun to kind of play babysitter / fake mom for this second. And
but is there like some acknowledgement, even from a 10-year-old who could not intellectualize these things, of this kid needs something? Like this kid is not being seen.
Or I mean, even that, like what I feel like there is something there also. Like, we don't know if her parents yet. Like, the parents were the ones who are like kind of like the mess here, or it's her memory of it. But like that she's just like seeing them as adults already, not just her parents, and being like, you're so embarrassing. Like, you're handling this so poorly.
And I wish I didn't belong to you.
Yeah.
That there is some feeling of her being like, you're going to keep trying to drag me back to raise this child. And I don't know if I will ever be helpful to this child. I also think, like, in a movie where you're questioning how much of what you're seeing is real and it's so perspective based to a degree, all this fire is like super CGI and artificial. As we said, like they're shooting day for night. Like all of that stuff.
It springs up all over the place simultaneously, right? Like it's not like because she burns the diary. It starts a fire.
No,
the whole forest immediately comes up in flames. Yeah.
Right, right.
It's a little.
It is purposefully unreal, and it's speaking to an ecstatic truth.
Yep. The dialogue scene was. I'm just checking the.
Oh, good. The dialogue scene was cut.
No, the thing you mentioned, the
5
page monologue. They were like, no, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Lynne Ramsay would do things like crawl around for a while, please.
Mm-hmm.
And
in this movie,
they would. Johnny Greenwood, who scored her last 2 movies, was into it. Was in Italy. Was busy. He nearly came back. She obviously had the soundtracks. The needle drops and stuff. She ends up not working with him. I don't know. It feels like it all sounds a little shambolic to me.
George Vzfekta?
Yes, who's like a Nick Cave collaborator.
Right.
He's the guitarist from the Bad Seeds.
Yeah, but there are 3 music credits on this, including Ramsay, but he seems to have handled the lion's share of the score, which I think is very good. Could not find the score from this movie anywhere. I don't know if it's been released in any form, but especially the final underscoring of the woods
is cool.
Is really good. But yes, it does weirdly feel like, probably just because of the engine of Jennifer Lawrence, and especially once she got Robert Pattinson on board, this movie kind of came together very quickly.
Yeah, and obviously that's part of what we should talk about. Another thing is she plays music on set, the Cameron Crowe thing. Peter Weir does that. People do that just to amp people up. Scorsese very protective of her throughout. We love you, Marty. The film goes to Cannes. I don't know if there is a listed budget. I can't imagine this cost a ton of money to make.
No, it's not many locations.
Right. Did you see it at Cannes?
I saw it at Cannes.
did it change? Because I heard that it was like done.
I think it did. Rewatching it, I feel
probably not
like,
drastically.
Yeah,
but.
I felt like there were, especially in the opening sequences, it felt like it had been tightened up, but then I don't know, but like, yeah, it felt like it was like just barely done.
I mean, she traditionally goes to Cannes and is like, by the way, the movie's not finished.
Right, yeah, I'm still working. I mean, it felt like it was sort of a weird Cannes, but it was it was a fairly strong one.
Yeah, I feel like there were a lot of great films. I think it was interesting. Yeah,
it was ignored.
The Secret Agent,
awards wise, right?
Yeah, and it landed positively, but then the Mubi deals happens, and everyone's kind of like, are they seeing something we're not getting here?
Well, I think I from afar had not seen this movie. I was like, well, it has movie stars in it. Like, I imagine they think they can sell it based on that, and they did do a good job with the substance. And what's it about? It's about Jennifer Lawrence and Robert Pattinson like getting naked and being crazy.
Yeah.
That sounds like something you could sell.
Sure.
Right? I don't know.
Right. I mean,
there was a lot of skepticism at Cannes about that.
Like, what are they thinking?
Number? Yes.
They bought it for a lot of money.
Yeah.
I also, I feel like I've talked to
they shot it last October.
Yeah, it was
and it was a Cannes in May. So like it was all pretty fast.
Yes. Right. Like, yeah. The problem is when you hear something like Mubi bought the Lynne Ramsay movie for $20 million, a filmmaker who has never had a movie really exceed $10 million globally, right? Even with two A-list stars.
No,
like
all of her movies, in fact, have made about $10 million
exactly.
globally.
And like $1 million or $2 million domestically. You sort of go like, what is the calculation they're doing here? And for people like us who are like very deep in the weeds on the movie industry, but are also not working in fucking distribution or whatever, you used to be able to read like Fox Searchlight has bought X movie for $12.5 million and go like, okay, back of napkin math. They're hoping they can put whatever amount into marketing and get it to this amount domestically and assume that they can then sell the foreign rights to other people or DVDs or whatever it is. You hear like Mubi has bought a thing for $20 million. It's the same as like Apple buying Coda for Sundance, out of Sundance for 25, which I still think is the record, and going like, well, that sounds like it doesn't make sense at all. But also, they have obscured what the business model even is anymore.
Right. It's
where
the like
who knows?
Equals ? Profit, right? Like aspect, the streaming aspect where you're like, okay, I guess someone could argue that maybe Jennifer Lawrence's face on Mubi.com,
that might be true.
Yeah.
Look,
I mean, like, I just don't know how to quantify it, right? It's impossible to quantify.
Her next movie that she's more likely to work with.
What is the last movie Jennifer Lawrence made to have made $100 million at the domestic box office?
Did Passengers cross 100?
The answer is Passengers.
And like
came out 10 years ago.
101?
Did 100 even domestic. Now, Dark Phoenix made 246 worldwide, but that was an unambiguous bomb.
And made
65 domestic.
Jesus.
Very poor.
Right.
Yeah.
And Don't Look Up does not have box office.
It sure does not. Now, I think Don't Look Up
most watched movie.
Right, for Netflix. Yeah. But outside of her two franchises, which always did well, her last, and Passengers sort of scraped by.
Yeah.
But her last real fucking hit is American Hustle, which was like a no kidding hit.
Yes.
Crazy to consider.
But she's also part of
She's part of it. And like before then, I guess it's Silver Linings.
Yeah.
She's got, and this is where I guess why I was thinking about Angelina, where I'm like, we all agree she's a movie star. She's someone people care about. She's still famous. She's taken kind of a break. It hasn't made people disinterested in her. She's not the cool young thing anymore, but she's still a thing. But you are kind of like, if, at the end of the day, like, I wouldn't buy her movie thinking, oh, Jennifer Lawrence will get me 40 mil, 60 mil.
The big thing, because, the two franchises are the two franchises. And I would argue she added a tremendous amount to both of them, but you also can't give her full credit for those numbers. I would argue the thing that made her stats look so insane to everyone was Silver Linings and American Hustle. Yeah. That it's like even...
These grown-up...
That's the thing.
Movies.
Even 10, 15 years ago, the idea of, oh my God, it's like a fucking dramedy that is R-rated, that is crossing $100 million. Even if she's not the only person there, she in both cases kind of came out of the movie with the most energy, was the sticky thing. And they were like, well, if she can do that, then she can fucking do anything. And then, as you said, like she pushes the limits and makes like a couple movies that are more off-putting. And immediately audiences are like, yeah, we're not going to go there with you. We'll go there selectively when you're doing something we're already interested in.
But I don't know what the strategy for this movie should have been. I guess not.
I mean, I don't think there was one. I really do think they were just like, maybe we can pull a substance, even though I'm sure everyone at the team at the time knew this was not going to be a substance level movie. Like, it's just the substance is like, I mean, I like the substance a lot.
Sure.
But it's like a kind of like campy, outrageous body horror, dark comedy,
and,
you know,
and
like
the lightning in a bottle thing.
Yes. And it had the kind of, I think, I'm sure they thought they could make the kind of meta narrative of like Lawrence as a mother and Lawrence coming out as this like serious actor again after this like time off. But like, that's a less kind of like,
that's so different than you've never taken Demi Moore seriously before.
Right.
Exactly, yeah.
Like, and the substance is quote unquote like demanding in that it's very violent or whatever. But this is a demanding watch. It's not something you tell your friends to go see automatically.
No, and Substance was demanding in a way that felt like a challenge that people wanted to take.
Yeah,
Can
like
you
people,
fucking handle
right,
the
like
substance?
people were like fainting in,
Right.
you know, like screenings and things like that. Like
Right,
that's like a kind of dare, as opposed to this, which is to be like, can you
will
handle
feel
this
bad.
movie
It
because
upset
it's
people.
like grueling. Yeah.
Right. And
It's her longest movie ever.
you look at the Substance, which like opened well, but then really fucking held in there, right? And was seen as like, is this going to be on like the outside of maybe a Best Actress nomination? And then you're like, it gets fucking picture and director. She almost wins actress, like all this stuff. And what kept that movie alive did really kind of feel like it was the fucking memes, not to be reductive, but it was just like, this movie has like crystallized 5 things that now you can just use the image as shorthand. And I did think that created some FOMO of people who weren't in it being like, I gotta see what this fucking thing is with Demi Moore in the mirror.
No, I
because
think so,
everyone
yeah.
keeps saying this
It's
got at
striking.
something.
It had a legitimate cultural footprint.
Right.
in a
And
way,
so if you're watching this movie at Cannes and you're like, fuck, Jennifer Lawrence and Robert Pattinson are doing weird nonverbal things. Is this thing going to produce 80,000 memes? But that's not really understanding the relationship to memes that feed into the value of the actual project versus the things that become
you can't
decentralized and completely removed. You can't fake
it.
It
Happens or it doesn't happen.
Right. Totally.
How many Golden Globes has Jennifer Lawrence been nominated for?
Really good question. Okay, so
including this film, of course.
yes, Winter's Bone. Did they nominate all the actual Oscars? American Hustle, Silver Linings, Joy?
Of course they did.
Okay. And Die My Love is 5. And they nominated her for Don't Look Up.
They sure did.
That's 6. And I'm trying to think anything else they would try. They didn't do any of the Hunger Games.
No.
Is there another one in there?
There is. There's one more. Comedy.
It's a comedy. Oh, did they nominate her for No Hard
They
Feelings?
sure did.
That's kind of cool of them.
She's a 7-time nominee. How many wins?
She won for American Hustle.
She won for American Hustle, all right. She has won 3 times.
3? Okay, so she won for American Hustle. She won for Silver Linings.
Yes, of course. She won the Oscar, of course.
Yes, and she won for... They didn't give it to her for Winter's Bone.
No.
Did they give it to her for Joy?
They gave it to her for Joy.
See, that's a real Jennifer Lawrence. You got to go away for a moment.
I really
We're
think
sorry,
so.
but
I sort of vaguely remember her being like, I'm sorry.
Guys, come on, please.
It's Best Actress in a Comedy. But she beat Amy Schumer in Trainwreck and Melissa McCarthy in Spy, which are like, genuine actress in a comedy movies.
Yeah.
And then like Maggie Smith, Lady in the Van, Lily Tomlin, Grandma, like, sure, we can.
But that's a year kind of designed to make Judd Apatow mad.
Yeah.
It is a little bit.
Yep,
It is.
pretty much.
It is. We were Allison and I were just
Joy,
on
by
Good
the
One.
way,
Yeah.
is not a comedy.
No, it's not.
No, it's not.
No,
it is.
Like,
No.
arguably less so than any other David O. Russell
Right.
movie, including his 2 war movies.
Yeah, it has a kind of, I guess, like a sort of antic tone, but it has no jokes.
It's not funny.
Yeah.
But no, we just did a Good One, Jesse David Fox's podcast, and talked about the Martian year being the year that broke everybody. And we're like, Martian's funnier than a lot of movies that have won Golden Globe comedy
That's what
awards.
I argued that on Critical Darlings.
But it does feel similar to giving the award to Jennifer Lawrence, where everyone was like, you know what? Fucking enough is enough. This is just the year that breaks us. This isn't the most egregious case.
Right. But Judd Apatow will never forget.
Yeah.
Yeah.
People were mad about it at the time. Now what did it beat? Let me see.
We went over this. Well, so Trainwreck was nominated.
Yeah.
What were the other three, David?
Like Best Pictures.
Yeah, musical or comedy.
Big Short, which like, why didn't they give it to that? Because that was a big Oscar contender that is a satire.
That is actually a weird move.
Like it has dramatic elements, but like you can call that a comedy, absolutely. And then Joy and Spy.
Okay.
Spy, a great comedy,
Incredible.
very fun, and Joy, not very funny.
Yeah.
About a mop.
Yeah. Can I throw out one other thing? Just because in executive producing Critical Darlings and staying engaged with the feedback and everything, and us coming out of a winter fall where we had to cover some new releases that were more limited releases, I feel like there is always this dialogue I see with our listeners, people who do not live in what are kind of deemed the major movie markets, getting frustrated when they have to listen to podcasts that are talking about films that they feel like, I'm 6 months away from getting to see this. I don't know if this ever comes to my theater. I have to wait until streaming. And when you add on to that the festival circuit and a movie like this where you're like, I'm seeing everyone I follow online talk about it in May. And then everyone who missed out on that basically gets to see it in whatever, September, October. And then I'm waiting all the way here to that. Why can't these things like be more democratic now? And the counter argument, and I'm not saying this in a positive or negative way, but it is just like a reflection of reality, is like the flop fall problem. This happened, I would argue, in 2021 as well, when the studios were still feeling so sheepish about theatrical, and theaters had reopened, there were more screens than they had things to fill them with, and stuff like Titan was like opening on 900 screens opening weekend. And there was this little moment of hope of like, maybe this just means that like smaller movies get out wider and faster.
They have the space for them, right?
And that because of the internet, we don't need to platform and this can just get out there. And what happened was that like most, if not all of those movies belly flopped. And like major financial baths were taken, and it was sort of a necessary sacrifice to fill screens with things. And the data was accumulated and they walked away. And then it happened again this fall, which I think was an end result of the strikes from like 2 years ago. Caused like a lot more gaps in scheduling. We finally got to the business end of that. There are, because of post-production timelines, now finally the few tentpole movies that came on either side were interrupted by the strikes. And so there's a lot of like, guess what? Smashing Machine, 2,000 screens opening weekend. Die My Love. And with these bigger stars also, especially
big star movies, yeah.
A lot of times these people write into their contracts, especially if they don't want to go to streaming. You buy this movie, you are promising
a wide release.
Now, it doesn't promise you have to open wide in a lot of cases.
No, because that'd be crazy.
But a lot of these distributors just go like, so
fine, let's just do it.
Fuck, if we have to get to 2,000 at some point, why just not do it now? And the negative is the thing bombs. And then the headline becomes, why the fuck are these stars making these self-indulgent movies that no one wants to see? This is a failed commercial play, and it creates more conservatism in what gets made.
If Smashing Machine had been well reviewed, it would have opened bigger and done fine.
I mean,
that's unambiguous.
If it had been another movie, basically.
Well, that is true. But like, let's say that movie had gotten raves, and it's basically the same movie. Obviously, that wasn't going to happen because people didn't really respond to it that way. But like, I think the raves and the you must see Dwayne Johnson play this athlete would have gotten enough butts in seats for it to make like sort of, what did it open to? Like, it
was the lowest opening he's ever had. It opened to like 5 or 6.
Right. And like probably could have gotten to like 15 or a more respectable kind of A24 big opening.
Totally. And there was the fucking Taylor Swift album release movie totally sideswiped them. Sure. They were going to get some default box office from being the only thing.
There was that too. Right. But like, you know, it's like, that was something where I was like, I think the reviews did it in. Die My Love felt more complicated where it was like, got good reviews, but the movie's a tough sell. No one knows what it's about.
I don't think people knew it came out.
The advertising is weird.
I'm sorry, it's hard to be like,
and it's hard to sell this.
Yeah, that's it. Like, it doesn't sound appealing to a lot of people to be like, this is going to be a look into this woman's like kind of like downward mental spiral.
No, and like if a movie like this is going to catch on, it kind of needs to catch on organically. You can't sort of like build up ahead of like need to see hype on it. You need to like have this movie find its champions organically and have it dissipate. And it's like you're releasing movies in a way where there's no ability for there to be, say, like a letterboxed growth. you know, of people claiming it early, of seeing logs, of being like, I agree with this person's taste most of the time. Like things that are kind of this, you know, the distributors are trying to understand more of how to get more difficult films to catch on at the box office, which is like, there is a younger, more engaged online cinephile audience, and how do you get through to them? And you can't just kind of fucking blitzkrieg them.
Yeah, but I think also, you know, we're looking at like A24 obviously knows what they're doing, even if I feel like the Smashing Machine was unusual for them in having an actor like The Rock and kind of being like, how is this going to go? But like Christie, you know, which got a wide release, a disastrous wide release. That was Black Bear, a new distributor. You know, they've been a production company. They haven't been in distribution.
If the movie doesn't sell at Toronto and they're like, fuck it, we're putting it out in 6 weeks.
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah. And so like that just felt like a kind of like really like Hail Mary endeavor that obviously didn't work out for them.
And there's that insane anecdote that like 6 weeks out or whatever, 4 weeks out, the movie was like testing to open to like 3. And they were like disaster. And Sydney Sweeney goes like, great, I'll fucking amp up the promo mode. She does the most insane press tour anyone's ever done.
She didn't do the right press tour.
But she does everything.
I know she did a press tour.
And they're like, oh my God, the public awareness of this movie has gone from like 8 to 98. And then it opened lower than it had been tracking a month earlier.
It's a 2-hour, 15-minute movie about domestic violence.
Right, that's the thing. Is like
the only thing that like Sydney Sweeney succeeded in promoting in that press tour was her cleavage and what's going on here. It wasn't like, I really want to see this performance.
Yeah, but I mean, again, it is a movie where you're like, if you give a fair logline description, and I think it's she's great in the movie, but it is like, this is a movie about a boxer that you probably don't know about unless you're deep in boxing. And the other half of it is going to be about how her abusive husband attempts to murder her.
Right. Like really, it's like terrible. It's like a terrible, scary movie.
Incredibly brutal depiction of a controlling abusive relationship.
Which is another thing with all these like flop fall, like movie star kind of prestige project failures is like, you guys want to see a Springsteen biopic? Yeah. It's about the period where he wrote the album we don't talk about that much, and it's mostly him just kind of trying to work through his childhood trauma.
Right.
And you're like, well, that's the least fun version of it you could sell me.
Right.
Smashing Machine, what's it about? It's sort of an addiction drama, but it's more about the guy just trying to kind of make peace with himself as the addiction stuff's going on in the background. And David and I have both like contended this whole time, I like that movie, have both contended like there is not one of those movies where it underperforming or flopping is inexplicable, where you're like, people should have fucking shown up to this. There was just kind of a belief that they could like make Gabbo happen. And I think it's all like a pipeline problem. You know, I think like you put Die My Love in 1/3 as many screens as they put it in opening weekend, and it would have made the exact same amount of money, but in fuller theaters.
Yes.
You could probably have put it on 1/5 as many screens.
Yeah.
And it would have done the same.
Yeah.
Well, it came out November 7th, 2025. It opened number 8 at the box office.
It's a perfect Thanksgiving movie.
$2.6 million.
Yeah. It ends up at
5 domestic, 10 worldwide.
So it is
her classic number.
Yeah,
10.
It's her highest grossing domestically.
Sure.
But lower international than she usually does.
They all make 10.
She's a tenor.
Except for Ratcatcher, I think literally all her movies have made $10 million. Number 1 at the box office is a pretty successful franchise sequel that is new this week.
It's not Zootopia.
No.
Because you would describe that as a fucking juggernaut.
That was a very big movie. Yes.
By the time this episode comes out, Zootopia has probably taken the crown as 2025's highest grosser.
There's no question.
Yeah.
It did the legs on that thing.
And also, they love it in China.
Insane.
They sure do.
Yeah.
I believe they've elected Zootopia to prime minister.
He'd be a good prime minister.
Yeah. Okay.
Why don't they kiss though? You've got the bunny and the fox; they have to kiss.
It just raises a lot of questions.
I know, but I'm just saying
I just think Zootopia is like, we are not ready to talk about hybrid marriage between species.
Do you know what? But they're like, we know you want to talk about.
I agree with you, Alison.
The whole movie is like you're thinking about it so much.
The movie's wiggling its eyebrows. It's acting all coquettish. What do you mean? I would never. And you're like, you fucking have pages that you're just not showing.
Exactly.
Someone's got pages.
You have files. Okay. It's fairly successful.
Yeah, this is like a solidly successful sequel.
A 2?
No, it's too complicated.
It's too complicated.
It's too complicated. It's like,
Is it like a tendril?
yeah, it's like the latest of these movies. There have been like 6 or something. I don't know. Plus
6
a couple spin-offs.
moderately successful.
It's new this week. It's opening to $40 million. We all saw it. We all thought it was pretty good.
We all
I don't know if Alison saw it.
Pretty
She probably
good.
did.
It's gone from my brain.
What did it end up at? This is so
It's
recent.
not the magician movie, is it?
No, it's not Now You See Me. No, it ended up at
it's
184
Predator Badlands.
worldwide.
Oh.
It's Predator
Yeah.
Badlands.
Yep.
Yeah, I didn't
Yeah.
see it. People like that movie though.
Yeah, it's a good movie.
Yeah.
It is a funny way to describe that franchise that is 100% accurate. We're like, how many have there been? 5, 8, 10?
Yeah.
Depends on your
Right.
perspective.
Isn't there like the Predator like without
Yeah, there's both Predators and the Predator.
the Predator. Yeah. Yeah.
No, it's a good movie.
It's a solid, fun
It's
movie.
fun. Yeah.
That's the best part of Anaconda, the Anaconda movie that they made, the new one, is when Jack Black is writing the script and he's like, the Anaconda.
I remember
That's
asking
funny.
you, Allison, does it have any juice? And you
Yeah,
said,
it's like
that's the one joke.
That's one joke.
he writes the word the, and I
Yeah.
laughed.
Number 2 is a romantic drama that I did not see, but heard was fairly unhinged.
It's the Colleen Hoover one.
And what is it called?
Is it called Without You?
No.
Were any of those words right?
You was correct.
Is it called Forgetting You?
Closer.
Is it called Forgiving
Did you?
You?
No. Did you?
I
see
did
this
not
movie?
see
Is
this
it 2
movie.
words?
Yeah.
I can picture the poster though.
It's something you.
Regretting You?
There you go.
Yeah.
Regretting You.
I listened to the Big Pick trying to explain what that movie was about, and I could not make sense of it.
Directed by Josh Boone.
It was like someone trying to explain quantum physics.
Of course, The Fault in Our Stars
Of
and
course.
The New Mutants.
Yes, of course.
With the big 4, Alison Williams, Kenna Grace, Dave Franco, and Mason Thames.
McKenna Grace has been working so much that I'm like questioning if there's a Hermione Granger Time Turner thing.
I
going on.
also kind of forget that who she even is,
Yes.
but then I'm like, but who's this? Like this actress
Yes.
reminds me of someone. It's always her. Right?
Anyone who's
Yeah.
a McKenna Grace type
She
in a
had like
movie.
5 movies in 2025.
She was in Five Nights at Freddy's.
Yeah,
She was in Regretting You.
yeah,
She's in the fucking Scream 7 coming out.
she's in that. That's true.
Right. What else did she have last year? It's insane.
I mean, shit that I've never heard of. What We Hide.
Yeah.
Slanted.
Sure, of course.
Oh, slanted is
Anniversary.
like
Well, yes.
a kind of horror comedy
Okay.
about race. I believe.
Right.
Correct,
And she's now the lead of the next
It's about
Hunger
a
Games.
Chinese American high schooler
Yes.
who undergoes ethnic modification surgery.
surgery. Yeah,
Perfect.
yeah.
But yeah, she's,
She
she's
is
the new
in-
Hunger Games heroine.
Yes, she's in the new Hunger Games,
Yes.
which is the Haymitch.
Sunrise on the
Movie.
Reaping.
Right.
Which Jennifer Lawrence is supposed to reprise her
Yeah.
role
Supposedly,
in.
I imagine in a scene. Or
And
two.
and the movie that will finally win Glenn Close her Oscar.
I said this before. I don't know why they did not try to get Glenn Close an Oscar nomination for Wake Up Dead.
My guy, I rewatched that movie last week.
She's very solid in it. She's good. She's good in it. She has a major role. We nominated her for fucking Hillbilly Elegy.
It's so
like
insane.
you can't just get her a fucking nom.
It feels like they never thought about that
This is
movie
what
in
I'm
an Oscar
saying.
context.
It
So
feels like they
Yeah.
completely both.
I really
other
kind of love that movie.
Knives Out and
Yeah.
Glass Onion both got Oscar nominations. Like Ryan Johnson is not unknown to them. And like Glenn Close is like big model. And I'm just like, are you not obsessed with getting her an Oscar? She wouldn't win.
In the
There's too strong,
in
you
the
know,
least
like
arrogant way, though, that movie feels like Ryan Johnson rolling up his sleeves and going like, guys, I'm going to try to make it easy for you. I understand the Glenn Close Oscar thing keeps butting up against the problems of the movies she's in are repellent dog shit. What if I make a movie that is respectable and I give her all the kinds of scenes you would want?
Yeah. Number 3 at the box office is a film we discussed a lot on a future episode, but I don't think either of us have seen. It is a horror sequel.
Oh, it's the Black Phone 2.
Black Phone.
Yes.
The grabber is
Yes.
back.
You'll hear that in a
Briefly.
couple weeks.
Yes.
Yes.
Which was a decent hit.
Well, Mason Thames, of course. The
Thames.
McKenna Grace.
I assume it's Thames, right? Is it not pronounced like the river?
I thought it was Thames.
I have no idea.
Who knows?
I guess I never
No
thought
one
about
knows.
it.
No one's ever seen his face. But he had 3 number 1 movies
He did.
in 2025, and
Sure
2
did.
of them are in this current top 5 you're reading. He is the male lead of both.
Both Regretting You. Or no, he's a male lead in Regretting
He
You.
is the young
He's-
male lead.
Sure. And
He
then
is
Black
McKenna
Phone
Grace's
2
beau.
and How I Met Your Dragon. Whatever.
Yeah, How I Met Your Dragon.
Number 4 at the box office is something I've never heard of.
You've never heard
fuck
of.
is this? It
Okay.
is oh my God, a biographical drama film.
Biographical. Is it faith-based?
Yeah,
it
Angel
must be
Studios?
because Zachary Levi is involved, but
Oh.
it's Amazon MGM.
Okay.
Oh no, this is that one. It's like a survival movie, isn't it? With like boats.
Yeah. Is it that one?
I don't think so. I
That
don't see a
one's-
boat. I see a dog.
The survival boat one is weirdly directed by Joe Carnahan.
Yeah, and Josh Duhamel is
Yes.
also, I think.
That is not this.
Is
That
this
is not
movie,
this?
Is this movie called like Inventing Sarah? Sarah's Oil?
Sarah's Oil.
Oh.
He was trying to hone in on that fucking Lorenzo
Yeah,
franchise, see if
yeah.
he could make like an
It-
off-brand.
It's like a true story.
Yeah.
I don't think I can summarize in time what the fuck this is about. It
Lorenzo's
seems
Oil, though.
complicated.
Great joke in Splitsville.
Yes.
Yes.
Incredible joke.
Because what is it? They're two blank check movies that are major running jokes in Splitsville. And someone just posted on our Reddit, you will never guess which two.
Well,
A lot of Lorenzo's Oil. That movie is very funny.
number 5 at the box office is a movie that a lot of people have been trying to beat the drum for as like the dad movie of the year that is good. It is not good.
It is not good.
bad.
You think it's bad?
I don't like this movie, as you know. Alex Ross Perry recently called it his second favorite movie of the year to us, somewhat as a joke.
Oh, Nuremberg.
Film is Nuremberg.
Yeah, I asked Alex Ross Perry what his top 10 for the year was, and he said, no point in wasting time. Like, I will not
Brutal.
dignify 10 movies with any positive
seen
endorsement. By the
James
way,
Bond?
Nuremberg,
I
Iron
missed-
Lock on number 2.
I missed Nuremberg. Wait, what was his number one?
I think
One battle. He was
is-
like,
is
one
a movie
battle.
he actually likes.
Nuremberg number 2. Who can be bothered to rank
and then
it
there's
more?
after that, the movies ended. Cinema was over. So yeah.
But Nuremberg, a very solid hit, for given that it was, sort of, I mean, maybe that's over the top because it made 14 domestic, but 44 worldwide.
I mean, that's pretty good.
Pretty
for a
good.
movie,
Also,
yeah.
especially in...
Especially for a movie that like was not that well received.
And I was going to say in the flop fall, you never
Yeah.
would have predicted like Nuremberg is going to like multiple like times outgross Smashing Machine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I mean, it did all right. It's long, it's boring, doesn't really have a grasp on stuff. And I really do think it makes the terrible mistake of having its arc be Rami Malek realizing that Hermann Goering is not a good guy. It's just insane.
But I'm
Other
sure,
people have argued with me on this. They're like, no, that's not what it's about. I'm like, it's a little bit what happens though.
I'm sure Russell Crowe is giving an effervescent
He's all right. I mean, he's
feather light touch performance.
it's not Featherlight Touch. Russell
Feather
Crowe's an
touch
actor
line.
I basically always like. Like I am never against a Russell Crowe performance, even if I think he's phoning it in or he's being a little silly or whatever. And it's like a good use of him in that you're like, yes, Russell Crowe is someone I would kind of want to like me,
Mm-hmm.
even if he were Hermann Goering and I was not
Sure.
his friend.
Yeah.
Nor did I need to be.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, so then, yeah. Okay. Number 6 at the box office.
Mm-hmm.
Was nominated for a bunch of Oscars, including Best Picture.
Number 6 at the box office, was nominated for a bunch of Oscars, including Best Picture.
It's-
Is it Hamnet?
No, it's been out for 3 weeks. Made 17 domestic, 40 worldwide.
17
so-
domestic, 40 worldwide movie. What were you about to say about it? It's who's the distributor?
Focus.
It's a Fuckus movie.
Mm-hmm.
Fuckus Features.
It's a director that makes movies.
Oh, it's the director that makes movies. Okay, so that narrows it
And
down a little.
He's got an actor who's been making them with him for a while at this point.
Okay, so they're a team.
They've become a bit of a team.
They've become a bit of a team, and it got a Best Picture nomination.
Yeah, and he got her third acting
Begonia.
nomination. Yeah,
There we go.
Wow.
Begonia.
Recently discussed.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, 17. Did that hit 20? Or
No, I just said the
17 was the total.
Total.
The final and
Yeah.
total. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But did all right.
It's all
Yeah.
For a movie like that.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Do you guys like Begonia?
I like
Yeah,
it. Yeah.
well, we just did an episode
Yeah,
about
I
it,
know.
and I like rewatching it. I liked it a lot more than I had the first time I watched it.
Oh,
Yeah.
interesting. Maybe
I was
should
like
rewatch it.
I was pretty down on it the first time I watched it.
I
was like,
yeah. I was not on mic for that, so I didn't weigh in. Of course, Woman was guest on that episode.
Ray Barty.
Yeah. Mayor. But Mayor of Blanktown. I was very frustrated while watching that movie, and then I got to the end and I was like, I like the ending. And like the ending not just as like big swing, but like, it's kind of sitting with me well. And then I remember you and I texting about it that following week or two after we'd seen it, Sims. And both being like, I'm liking chewing on it.
The themes of it resonate with me. I don't find it like the most pleasant watch.
But I have wondered if I watch it again, will it grow for me? The first 85 to 90% of it, I was like, this just isn't for me.
Yeah.
I'm just not into this. And then I did like it more with distance. So I don't know.
Number 7 at the box office is an anime movie that was a solid hit. I'm sure Ben saw it, or he wanted to at least.
Okay, so does it star dogs and or cats?
No. I mean, I don't know who it stars. It's an anime movie.
Yeah, but dogs and cats is a valid question for
I know, but I don't know.
It doesn't
like,
have animals in the picture. Is it an animated animal movie?
I don't think so, but I don't know anything
Your
about
awareness is this low?
Yeah, I don't know about. Yeah,
Chainsaw
there
Man?
you go.
Yeah.
It does. He does have a dog who's a chainsaw.
He's not in it a lot.
The dog.
unfortunately.
Wait, the dog
Yeah.
turns into a chainsaw?
Hmm?
Oh,
Well, his head becomes a chainsaw.
He's kind of
it's
like,
like
a,
the guy can turn into a chainsaw, right?
Multiple
his thing.
chainsaws.
His
Yeah, he's
head
just like
and his
made
arms.
of chainsaws.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
if he wants to be.
yeah.
I didn't know there was a dog chainsaw.
I realized
It's actually kind of cute.
we're out of the
Of
top
course.
10.
And they have a really nice
Out of top
dynamic.
5,
Yeah.
so
Yeah, I
we don't
was
need to be
surprised you were
guessing,
going this
right.
long. Yeah.
Die My Love. 9 is Deliver Me From Nowhere, which is not very good, unfortunately. And 10 is Tron Ares, which is also not very good. You know, Fall, they made some bad movies.
Yeah.
That was a mistake by them.
Tron Ares is another funny one because it's like the blockbuster version of what we're saying about the prestige movies where they're like, why did Tron Ares underperform? And I'm like, how much time do you have?
right. And also just like, how much hunger do you think there was for another Tron movie?
Here are
Right.
20 road
The whole
signs
thing
I
with-
pulled off the freeway warning
Look,
you not
as-
to make this
As
movie.
someone who loves Tron movies, it's like the appetite is low. So
Yes.
you better make a fucking exceptional Tron movie. If you want to do that, it better be so good. And they're like, oh, we made it really bad. Did you not?
It's weird
wanted
that
it
people
to be
didn't
good?
automatically want to
We thought the Tron name would sort of carry it over the line. It's like, no. You need good to get Tron over the line.
They put out like the hook in this movie is Tron comes to our world. Most of it takes place in downtown Los Angeles.
Sure.
I'm like, well, that's the opposite of what I like about Tron
Right.
movies.
You know, like you're like, so we're not going to spend a ton of time in the incredibly cool looking
The
digital
visually
world.
exciting world.
But my
of Tron.
first thought there is, I guess that must have been a strategic decision because the last one was so expensive and
Mhm.
it didn't quite hit expectations. So maybe that's the way to keep the cost down. And they were like, no, don't worry. It cost $220 million.
It's not a cheap looking movie
Right,
at
no,
all.
like,
It's
no,
like-
go to jail.
Yes.
Why the fuck isn't this all inside the computer if you spent that much?
Right. And then they're also like, you know, who should be the anchor of
you know
this?
who people love
Yes.
now.
Yes.
That Jared Leto.
Right. They offered it to Brett Ratner and Bryan Singer first, right? And then they were like,
Now, Griff, as we wrap our short but eventful miniseries on Lynne Ramsay,
Mhm.
do you want to give me your top 5 Lynne Ramsay movies, which is all of her movies because
Yeah.
she's made 5?
yes, that is true. I'm just going to go off the
I think
dome
you
from
can
my
go off
heart
the dome.
here.
Yes.
You Were Never Really Here is my favorite.
Yes.
I would put Morven Caller at number 2.
Yes.
I could do Ratcatcher 3, Kevin 4, Die My Love 5.
Right.
I think she has made 5 excellent films.
I have Morven Caller first.
Mhm.
That's the film of hers that I truly adore.
Mhm.
And then You Were Never Really Here and Ratcatcher third,
Mhm.
Die My Love, and Kevin.
Yeah.
Allison, do
You prefer to not
firmly-
talk about Kevin?
I would rather not. Do you firmly disagree with either of these rankings?
I don't know.
Or what is your favorite Lynne Ramsay movie?
It would be Morven Caller. Yeah. I think the
That
scene of
crazy
her
cat.
going through the kind of nightclub with the headphones on will be like one of the greatest scenes in cinema that I can think of. So
And your least favorite, Kevin or Die My Love? Or is it something else?
no, I
Do you not like Hammerman?
probably Die My Love. I do like Hammerman, but I do feel like that movie always felt to me like it could have gone on longer. Like it just feels so boiled down. I don't know. But I do like Kevin. Here's the thing. That's the thing. I do like.
Yeah.
We need to talk about Kevin.
I love how like tight and like stripped down You Were Never Really Here is, but after doing the episode and reading the dossier and like having completely forgotten that a totally different cut and a longer cut was shown at Cannes, I'm just a little frustrated that there's no way to watch that cut. That I imported my like expensive Australian 4K and still there's no. I wish there was like a Terrence Malick Criterion release of like, here's just like 10 different versions. I don't know which one counts.
right.
Yeah.
Well, we're done talking about Lynne.
We're done talking about Lynne.
Next, we will talk about Peter Weir. We're going right to him because we moved Send Help up.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
We're
No.
No.
We'll do the blankies.
We'll
We'll do the blankies next week.
folks. We'll do the blankies
We'll do our
next
awards.
week.
So there you go. So we do have a palate
We
cleanser.
do have
So
a little bit of a palate cleanser.
Hope you're happy.
Oh, I bet you're gonna eat it up. And we did recently put a Ben's Choice on the calendar, but I think it'll be
Patreon.
on Patreon. But we
that'll be
have quite a good one, I think.
Pretty thrilled.
Yeah.
But that's done. And then so next week our Joe Reed Blankies episode will happen. One assumes. I mean, that's the plan. And then hasn't been recording it. And then are you writing songs? Get to work.
I have been.
Oh,
but more importantly, the Clem dog, Sean Clements,
of
recent
course.
guest on the
He
show,
loves to punch
has
him
up.
up.
Sending me a lot.
There you go.
You know, he's not been
he did write songs.
punch up. He's been sending me some voice memos. There's some really exciting shit happening in our text thread. I don't want to overhype it.
Yeah, sure.
But we've been burning the midnight oil.
And then,
by which I mean every 6 weeks, one text.
And then, the Cars That Ate Paris will kick off our Peter Weir miniseries, and March Madness will kick off. That's probably about to be announced, right? I mean, it's February 22nd, so pretty soon. So look forward to voting for whoever we cover and all that. And that's that. And I'm done talking. Goodbye.
Well, actually, that's not how the podcast ends.
I know, but
I regret
I'm done.
to inform you. Allison,
Yes.
thank you for being here.
Thanks for having me.
People should listen to Critical Darlings.
Yeah, please listen to it. We do so much talking on it.
You know what? I listen to some of these podcasts. I queue them up. I press play for hours. And people complain about our show being long. At least we're filling it up with words. And I think you folks do an excellent job as well.
Thank you.
Talking on microphone, pressing record, and making sure people can actually hear it later.
So
Yeah,
this
it's an important
episode
stage.
is coming out on February 22nd.
Yes.
As far as the run leading up to the big
Yes.
award ceremony, where are you guys
Pretty
at?
close.
Pretty close.
Yeah,
like
let me
3
look
weeks
at
away, though.
Yeah.
Let me see. I got
We
a little
will-
sketchy here.
That might be the secret agent episode.
I
around.
think the Secret Agent episode will have just come out, and the next episode will actually be a nice little bit of synchronicity. Our buddy Joe Reed talking sentimental value.
Yeah.
And then, the final 3 episodes of this season will be Sinners, one battle with some sort of final predictions, and then a recap.
There you go.
Yeah. Allison, anything else you want to plug?
Oh, no.
You got great articles all over vulture.com.
This
Go
is true.
check them out.
This is true.
You reviewed Sirat. You
I-
must have written that a while ago.
No, I wrote it this
you read
morning.
recently. Okay, fair enough. You reviewed Melania.
I did.
Thank you
review
for
Melania.
like,
Thank
doing
you.
kind of the things that I write.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You liked Send Help.
I like Send Help.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
There you go. I was just looking at your recent
I
stuff.
appreciate it. I have something. My Wuthering Heights review will go up on, I think, Monday. Yeah, it'll be up. Yeah.
You've already filed it?
I have filed it.
But have
I
you
also
had
filed my review.
a chance to, and this I guess goes to both of you, to try out Oakberry's tie-in menu yet?
I would love to have.
Because I feel like you can't really speak about the movie.
This is a fair assessment.
I don't even know what Oakberry is.
Yeah. I will say there was a point, and I included this in my review, where I said that the interior design choices very much reminded me of Lily Allen's Brooklyn Brownstone.
Interesting.
Yes.
I texted this to, of course, our friend, your former podcast co-host of past, Matt Singer, yesterday. Oakberry, which I guess is some chain that sells something.
Yeah.
It's like acai bowls.
Yeah, had a big sign outside, a love you can taste, and they have 2 items, a kiss me bowl and a haunt me bowl. And both of them are clearly cups and not
That's a
bowls.
big lie.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm happy for Matt, because honestly, he ends up eating a lot of like pancake and burger
this is
based
healthier.
This is a positive
menus.
trend for him.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
someone who eats a lot of movie themed tie-in menus,
Yeah.
it's good that he'll get some vegetable or some fruits at least.
Right.
Some yeah.
And maybe if like Project Hail Mary can do like a Metamucil tie-in, these are just the things that
Yeah.
would really help the Singer
I think
family
so.
home.
Or at least like a sweet green or something like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. Maybe that's for Super Mario Galaxy. Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Thank you all for rating, reviewing, and subscribing. I'm thanking you for a thing I'm asking you to do, please. This will be ignored, much like Jennifer Lawrence plugging her movie at the end of a Hot Ones episode. Tune in next week for The Blankies. And a special bonus treat, we want to kind of shout out Matt Johnson and Jay McCarroll of Nirvana, the band, the show, and Nirvana, the band, the show, the movie, now in theaters, one of our favorite movies in a long time. We got offered the opportunity to have them on the podcast, which we could not pass on, but because of our silly schedule, booking and recording very far in advance, the thing it made the most sense to have them do was another Oops All Burger Report episode on Patreon, which we have titled Burger Report, the segment, the episode. So that is already out now on Patreon. We moved our schedule around to get that out fast. So the Wicked films will be happening next month to finish off our Oz series. But as of February 21st on the Blank Check Patreon, Burger Report, the segment, the episode. And we want to play you a little preview clip of that episode, little sample, little taster, a little slider for your enjoyment right here. We're here today to do something very important with two very important guests. This show, going on for over a decade, there was one episode where I came in and said, I'm sitting on a really hot scoop. I went to the Apple Pan in Los Angeles. I was a trip to Los Angeles, was eating a burger at the counter, and who saddles up next to me but Chivo himself, Emmanuel Lubezki, Academy Award-winning cinematographer.
Great artist.
And I go, Sims, I got something really hot to tell you in this next episode. You're never going to believe it. And I offer my report of seeing one of America's greatest living film artists, one of the world's greatest living film artists, chomp down on a burger, crunch. And Sims goes, you're never going to believe this. I went to Bear Burger over the weekend.
It was Moo Burger, but that's okay.
Fuck. And I saw Michael Shannon, Academy Award nominee. Michael Shannon also eating a burger. And we decided this is a new segment. Every single episode, we're going to do a burger report and check in on which famous people, famos, as we like to call them, we have seen eating a burger in the last week.
Usually nobody.
The well ran really dry, really, really fast.
Right. We live in New York, too. It's like, it's not like you live in Hollywood. But yeah, go ahead.
But then we found out, producer Ben, our own intro outro meister himself, had in past lives worked at celebrity hotspot restaurants with famed burgers and was able to reach into the archives and start giving us a burger report at the end of every episode. Eventually that well runs dry and we decide we need to start soliciting from listeners. We set up a voicemail and then we forgot about this voicemail line for a couple of years. And so now basically every 2 years, once a year?
About every year.
But the whole point is we don't remind people. And every time we do one, we act like that's probably the last one, right? Never doing it ever again. But today we are fucking opening up the voicemail bank. And we're listening to people tell us about times they've seen a famous person eat a burger.
So ridiculous that these guests are here for this nonsense.
It feels kind of correct.
I agree.
You're here. First off, the big project of your life, but specifically the project that you're promoting right now, is a similar kind of decades-long investment into the mounting, the pyramid of bits. Is that fair to say?
Yeah. We've been making this.
The pyramid of bits?
Did you say bits or bids?
I said bits, but we could bid on the bits. We could do a bid.
Yeah, I understand the metaphor.
It's clean.
This is a began as a bit.
Yes.
And then pyramid is not correct. It's
wrong.
It's more like a bit organism that you keep feeding and becomes
living.
gigantic.
So like a sourdough starter, but it's out of control.
Yeah.
Right.
One bite of a burger turns into many burgers.
That's how.
And what seemingly starts as something very silly, like, it's just celebrities eating burgers.
Right.
It becomes something.
It's now become
bigger.
a show format.
It's become a show format.
Yeah, literally, you have a format
And
which could spin out and become a film.
We're looking to sell. Honestly, we're looking really hard to sell. We feel like this is our exit strategy.
Oh, in the big picture, like this is going to be.
Well, that's a rival podcast. We don't want to talk about them. But in our
guys, we love them.
Big picture, we love them. We're friends, but competitors.
You're right.
Right. In our picture, it's like we're looking for that golden parachute.
And this may be it.
Can we just fucking sell Burger Report? Can Carson Daly host it? Is it a gotcha show? Is it a
Carson
show?
Daly's the guy with the juice right now. That's a good call.
I feel like he's really coming to his own. I think he's kind of figured his thing out.
Carson Daly?
Carson Daly.
I thought he was done. I'm worried that you're making these burger episodes at the furious rate of one per year. And you're trying to now sell it as a format that, in your own words, is going to lead to retirement.
It's a supply and demand kind of thing. That's strategy.
My point.
Right.
That it doesn't seem like you have either.
I think people are demanding it, and we're going.
Just wait. No. Half of them also will not be about people eating burgers. It'll be more like, I don't know. I think I saw Sean Penn eat a taco.
Well, that's what you guys are here to do. We need to judge how successful these are as burger reports, and we should say our guest today from Nirvana the band, the show, and Nirvana the band, the show, the movie, but also BlackBerry, and a thing I want to lead with, because I got questions. Matt and Bird break loose.
Yes, yes. One of our high moments in terms of artistic achievement. We got
Matt Johnson, Jay McCarroll.
Yes,
are here,
and we're so happy to be here. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having us.
Genuinely, thank you for being here.
Oh, it's an honor. Do your listeners know what this place looks like?
They got a sense.
They've caught glimpses.
Yeah.
But why? What's your impression?
I just want to give people an image that they can maybe assign to this podcast.
It feels like we are backstage at a video game store, or backstage at a toy store.
Sure.
Like it's the behind the scenes.
It's the most conducive environment to a conversation I've ever been in my life.
Ben is blushing. Look at it. Look how proud Ben is.
We're at 4 distinct and discreet, almost student-style desks, but
professional.
Yeah, it's almost like for a draft, somebody who's like a professional draftsman.
Yeah,
and they're at perfect 90-degree angles to one another, and we're all facing each other in the middle, as though we're about to judge something that's going to happen.
We are. We're going to judge these phone calls. Yeah.
Can you imagine the LAN party that we could have in here?
Oh man, let's bring in some CRT televisions.
we really
thick
could.
Gas cables.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's an honor to be here, and we're so happy to be here. And I don't think the burger format is going to travel outside.
You haven't heard the calls yet, though. That's what I'm saying. And maybe I don't put this pressure on you.
With
I don't. No. Listen. No. I believe that the way to treat a friend is to give them the kind of advice that will truly improve their life.
I agree.
That's what I'm looking for.
I think that blunt talk is usually,
and this isn't even blunt. Again, it may be incredible, but the idea that this is going to turn into a like Carson Daly, this is insanity.
You guys got this hot movie. You're tapped into the culture.
Yes.
You know what the public wants.
So you should listen to us.
But I'm saying you should listen to the calls
and see if
and then
maybe
I want to hear you go, hey, it's more of this, it's less of this.
Maybe I'm leaving tonight with the rights to Burger Report.
We'll cut you into this big time. Big time. Because there's something here and we haven't quite cracked it.
We made an entire episode of our show called The Burger, which is
the Wahlburgers.
It's about Wahlburgers,
which is centered around the magical properties of biting a burger and making a wish at the same time.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that's a thing we haven't worked into this format yet.
Are there still Wahlburgers in Toronto?
I think there might be one at the airport. Okay. I think there's one at YYZ.
Yeah, it looks like that's about it. Yeah, it's at the airport.
I think
there was nothing wrong with them. They were totally fine.
I think it was a cultural mismatch, if I'm being totally honest. You walked in and it's a full standee of one of the Wahlberg brothers standing there as though he's still in Boston being like, hey, Toronto, come on. These are the best burgers. And Torontonians are too shy.
Not the guy who'd be your first choice.
I think we're getting down to 3rd, 4th, or 5th but by the time you're at the guy who's been given a burger franchise. Yes. But I don't mean to disparage them. The show, at the very least, was inspiring. We made a whole episode of our show about
Great episode.
But it was not a cultural match. They thought that maybe the East Coast ism of Massachusetts would drive all the way up.
Right.
But there's a hard cut at the border.
It's like, you guys like hockey, like baseball, right? We're near water. It's basically the same vibe.
No, that's fresh. And it's a huge difference.
What's Toronto's best burger?
There's very touchy.
I assume that's a contentious. Of course, as it always is.
It depends who you asked. For the longest time, there was a place that was just outside the border of Etobicoke called Apache Burger that is not changing the name. They don't give a damn.
I was about to say, like something of a sensitive name. Right.
And this place was famous for having burgers that were so great that oftentimes sports figures like the Toronto Maple Leafs would drive out and have their burgers here. But they recently switched from fresh to frozen, and it was like they fell off a cliff. Right. But I mean, look, they still have
charbroiled is the way they were doing it.
Yeah, right? And it was old school
charbroiled.
But now,
Burgers Priest is, I think, the other one.
Burgers Priest sold to Harvey's. I think like everything changed.
Oh, really?
Yeah. That guy. That's Belange's buddy, by the way. He's got an unbelievable story. Like unbelievable. A summer that they were at summer camp and they needed to set up on their own. And this is not my story to tell, but all I will say is
like camping. You're saying
this is
we've got him on the phone right here.
Children's summer camp. Okay, and the owner believed that his son had gone on a cocaine crazed rampage and was using the camp as a kind of orgy/party zone, and in order to catch him, employed these 2 employees, one of which was the production designer of all of my films. Sure. The other was the guy who started Burgers Priest to develop and instigate on their own a closed network hidden camera system throughout the camp where they could film and capture this renegade son doing all kinds of things. They did it and it worked. And they were like,
they caught him?
They caught him. They were like 14 years old. And they basically did a dragnet.
What did they catch him doing?
Yeah, they
got video evidence of his drug-fueled party mania that was happening at a children's camp. And anyway, so this guy goes on oh my God. But this did not involve the campers. That was the big thing. It was like he would bring in outsiders, counselors, these types of things.
He was like a junior counselor?
This guy doing it was the son of the owner. So you can only imagine what his position in terms of the leadership.
Yeah,
it was literally. It was he decided this is mine to stomp on. He was like Prince, who's the guy in Game of Thrones, who just gets it, and he's going to be as despotic as he wants to be.
I've never watched Game of Thrones. I've never seen an episode.
Joffrey, yeah, right. Yeah. It's just like, well, this is all mine, and so I bear no responsibility. I didn't build it. Anyway, Burger Priest is a phenomenon in the city. Oh, the burgers are unbelievable, and they're closely associated with New Testament scripture.
Okay.
The priest is not ironic.
Oh, so it's so is there's sort of a theming? Okay.
Their tagline is redeeming the burger one at a time. So it's all very like religious language. Anyway, the franchise was a instant hit in the city of Toronto. So much so that it has now sold to Harvey's, which, if you don't know, Harvey's is the sister restaurant to Swiss Chalet.
Yeah.
So these two like mega restaurants.
It's about to fall off a cliff.
Who knows?
Okay.
I don't mean to disparage them.
It's been around forever and it's delicious.
Okay. Yeah.
I'll go next time I'm there. This is
but Toronto is you want to think of it like as a super mini New York in that there's like 50 different places doing their own special burgers. A place called Rudy's. There's, for a long time, Matty Matheson had a burger place called P&L. Like
Smash.
I went there. I went to P&L.
P&L Burger. Now Matty's got his own burger place right just south of Trinity Bellwoods Park. I forget.
Happy Burger?
No, Matty's Patties.
No, that's where I went.
Yeah.
That's where I went.
And those are great.
Those are good.
But Happy Burger is also great. Yeah. Like, you come to Toronto looking for a hamburger, you could eat a different burger every single day and be happy. But we don't have like Hamburger America.
Right.
Like, we don't
that place.
We don't have the kind of stuff you have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we didn't have that until very recently. Hamburger America felt like it was very much filling a hole.
Yeah.
In this
the problem with that is it opened right by my office, and I have to like not go that up.
That's not a problem.
I could kill myself.
That's only a problem of perception in your mind.
I've never been in my life. I want to go so badly. I may even go right after this.
I recommend it.
Yeah.
It's easy to get there. I'll tell you what train to take.
Anyway, on the subject of burgers, it's completely right. Yeah. Toronto's a great hamburger city, and
it's a great food city.
Yeah.
I mean, the first time I went to Toronto, I'm from New York. I grew up in London. I was like, these two cities have been merged into one city for me, is how I felt about Toronto. I was like, it's sort of a New Yorky city with more of an English energy.
Queen on the money.
Like, I know it's neither really, but like,
always good.
You want your money to have the types of people on it that are separated from you by dint of birth.
by just
because in America,
just what birth canal they exited.
Yeah, it makes a big difference because here in America, like, you see a bill and you're like, oh man, if I work really hard, I could get on this bill. which is true. In Canada, it's not. No, I'm sorry, it's not possible.
Well, are there nice Canadians on the backs of the bill or whatever? Like,
they put some inventors. They put some inventors on there, but there are precious few of those.
And I think John A. McDonald is a little bit has a colored history. Does he not?
My point is that you're talking about our prime ministers.
Yeah.
Yeah. They put our prime ministers on the bill, but on the back of all of them is the Queen.
You've always got the king.
Is the Queen on the back of all of it?
Used to be, but and all the coins. The Queen was on the back of every single one. Now,
you switching to Charlie.
No, I think that our country's done all kinds of bizarre things. They switched to a polymer bill, first of all.
Of course.
And now it's all like
monopoly money.
Yeah, I think
Rich Uncle Pennybags is on the back now, right? Yeah,
which would be great.
It'd be great. I think
he equals money.
He's good at business. He understands how to run a country like a business.
So does the way the game work is that you're buying the properties from him? Because
I don't actually know what role.
Okay, but wait a second. No,
maybe he owns the bank. Maybe you're all just dealing with his money.
I've never considered this. It certainly feels like he owns the bank, but I also feel like you're buying the properties from him.
It's funny because that is bad strategy. He owns the board. He could just hotel up everything right off the bat.
It does seem like he has the last laugh.
But
no matter what.
Exactly. That's the point. You never get to the end of Monopoly, and if you do, no one's happy, right?
No,
you're playing in a world that this guy has already monopolized. And he's like, have your fucking fun. Try your best.
Just try, but it's all coming back to me.
Yeah.
They're making a big Monopoly movie right now.
Thank God.
Like a big one. Like
well,
really
these
big.
questions are going to get answered.
Who would be good casting for him?
For Rich Uncle Pennybags?
Chris Pratt.
I did.
Throw him in there.
I used to do, I forget who the advertiser was, who the sponsor was, but it was some online banking company that I'm sure is super reputable and still in business. But I would do ad reads for them as Rich Uncle Pennybags. Moneybags? Pennybags? Moneybags?
Pennybags is the name. Yeah.
And then the bit became that he had been canceled and got replaced with Christopher Plummer.
You're right.
So in my mind, I'm like, Christopher Plummer would have been the great prestige Uncle Pennybags, but now he's dead.
We lost our chance.
We lost
Anthony
him.
Hopkins?
Wow.
Hopkins.
Starring Kevin Hart, the movie centers on a boy from Baltic Avenue on a quest to make a fortune? This is the Monopoly movie?
And Bellatar's directing this?
Belly's dead.
Belly's dead.
Just died.
Well, he rapped and then he...
Yeah, he rapped.
Oh, I
like,
see.
It's an Ice White Shut.
Oh, yeah.
And people are going to question, like, was this his cut?
And it's a tight
Or did they
100
fuck
minutes. Yeah, he
It's
was
like many Bellatar films.
He really wanted to go commercial. He wanted to make something his kids could see. And as always, I think the ultimate takeaway is Die My Love's box office failure was due to a lack of Oakberry tie-in.
Blank Check with Griffin and David is hosted by Griffin Newman and David Sims. Our executive producer is me, Ben Hostley. Our creative producer is Marie Barty Salinas. And our associate producer is AJ McKeon. This show is mixed and edited by AJ McKeon and Alan Smithy. Research by JJ Birch. Our theme song is by Lane Montgomery and the Great American Novel, with additional music by Alex Mitchell. Artwork by Joe Bowen, Ollie Moss, and Pat Reynolds. Our production assistant is Minnick. Special thanks to David Cho, Jordan Fish, and Nate Patterson for their production help. Head over to blankcheckpod.com for links to all of the real nerdy shit. Join our Patreon, Blank Check Special Features, for exclusive franchise commentaries and bonus episodes. Follow us on social at blankcheckpod. Subscribe to our weekly newsletter, Checkbook, on Substack. This podcast is created and produced by Blank Check Productions.